Is this connection better, Max?
Hey kids, this is hexrayvision. Welcome back to Tech Talk, where we try to answer as many technical questions that you guys got and deep dive and geek out about all the stuff going on in the crypto sphere right now. We got an all-star panel here for you guys. We got Norbert, we got Vibra, we got Adam from Vibra, Hexius Man, Freddie Quotes, Rags to Riches. I don't know how he got in here, but we're here and we're ready to rock and roll. So thank you very much for joining us. And any questions you guys have, throw them into the chat and we'll just get rolling. So I'll let each one of you guys introduce yourself really quick. Let us people know how you got started in crypto real quick, where they can find you, and we'll just go from there. We'll go with Norbert first.
Hello guys, I'm Norbert from London and born in Hungary. I almost became a millionaire in 2021 when my friend introduced me to Hex, but fortunately I didn't listen to him and didn't follow instructions and went on a different route that I know better kind of way, or it was like just too overwhelming the way how he explained Hex to me, like T-shares and Metamask and all these things. And there we go. 2 days later, I'm still working for a big man. Not for too long, I guess. But yeah, we're so grateful to be here and meet all these fantastic individuals. Everyone is so helpful and welcoming. Recently got selected to the Crypto Mastermind, hosted by Frank, which is amazing to interact with like-minded people and, you know, token creators, or like the best of the best. And here we go, Tech Talk Sunday, so why not? Let's do this.
Awesome. Adam, tell us about yourself if no one here, people aren't familiar with you yet.
Yeah, I have my company Vibra Finance, do crypto consulting, basically help all the people out there that got wrecked and want to figure it out this cycle, or a lot of people are new and just don't know how to even start and they just give up. And so I'm trying to just onboard people every day and personally just not trying to get wrecked, you know, doing stupid things. I'm just kidding, by the way, but it's trying to just bring light and just show people that crypto is, you know, can be easy if done the right way, and you can make it so stressful for yourself. So it's your choice, but we're here to help.
Awesome. How about you, Don? You're an OG in the space.
Yeah, not as OG as would be nice, but yeah, I got into crypto. My name's Don, or Hexiest Man in the World. Got into crypto in 2013, $95 a Bitcoin on August 6th, and got most of it wrecked by Mt. Gox. You know, thought that was my DeFi wallet. Turns out it wasn't DeFi by any means, and I didn't even know the term DeFi at the time. But I had the thought of, you know, wanting to self-custody my coins. I just didn't do enough research, which certainly taught me to do a lot of research, and that's what I've been doing for the last many years. Did not have the right research to get into Hex early enough, but it opened up the doors to me to a lot more of the DeFi side of Ethereum, and then of course, you know, Pulse Chain and you know, all the other tokens that are in the ecosystem. And yeah, hopefully we get our tokens back from Mt. Gox. I don't expect it, but it should happen this year. Anyway, basically my thing is to always do your own research, do lots of it, and don't be scared to pull the trigger when you have that gut feeling, where you have the logic, the idea that you have a good play. Make it as soon as you can.
Awesome. How about you, Freddie? I don't think there's anyone here that doesn't know who you are, but just in case they don't know who you are, introduce yourself.
I got into crypto through some libertarian friends back in 2013. Bought a little bit, tried to trade, thought I was smart. I wasn't. Lost most of it. Discouraged me, and eventually the next bull run got back in, and then 2017 happened, or I guess 13 was the bull, and then 15 was down, and then 17, I guess 16 was up, 17, and then down at that. So yeah, I was in and out of crypto. I didn't really start getting big until 2016 in that bull run, but I'd gotten in before that and lost a lot of money just being stupid, not being smart, and then found Richard Hart, and things kind of worked out for me.
And Brandon, how did you get into crypto?
I was working for I got out of the military and working a bunch of odd jobs. I think I was working for a moving company at the time, and set up my Coinbase account in 2013, and then just kind of piddled, made some money, lost a lot of money until I figured it out, kind of, and now I'm just like a cryptocurrency co-founder, hostage negotiator. I'm a connoisseur of meteorology, and that's about it. I make content, and I really care about personal freedom and sovereignty, and I'm beginning to hate politicians and governments more and more and more and more. And I can't believe I have to live on this planet potentially another 30 or 40 years and deal with this BS. So why not fight back? That's what I'm doing.
Awesome. Now, here's a good question to start off with. I went back to the last Tech Talk, which was about 1 year and 4 days ago. And the title of that Tech Talk was Waiting for the Bottom of the Crypto Market. Do you guys think we've hit the bottom of the crypto market, or do you think there's more pain? Anyone, just jump in.
I would say that it's... Oh, go ahead, Byron, please.
I was going to say the Bitcoin bottom was a year ago. When after the FTX crash in November, and altcoins, I would say pretty much mid-October was the bottom for everything. I don't hold anything that's not pumped in the last month, really, except for some of the RH stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the total crypto market cap's pumping. Ethereum's pushing pretty hard. I do think that we see another correction right around the halving. But I think Bitcoin and the altcoins have bottomed. I think they did that a while back. I don't see a 92% retracement again.
Yeah, it's crazy to see how far Bitcoin's come back up, right? We went down to about 15K, and yep. I was looking the other day and someone was talking about it, and I was like, no. And it was like 38K. I was like, oh my God, we've almost done a 2X off the bottom. Like that was crazy to me. Like it hadn't processed, but I guess. And then when Fiber just said that we bottomed in November of last year, like it doesn't seem like it was that long ago.
Correct.
And how quickly the sentiment can change when people, like, I remember when Bitcoin was around 15,000 and they were telling me like, oh, so how is your crypto doing? Yeah. And now they are like, oh, actually, I heard that crypto is doing quite well. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You never know when the bull market starts. That's what's interesting about all this. So you got to have a plan. Otherwise, you get left behind.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely want to have your sell orders in now and know your sell prices before the bull market kicks off, because that thing goes up so fast and so quickly that you kind of have to sell into the bull market, or you're going to be chasing everyone down during the next crash, I believe. So yeah, get your look at your bags and say how much of, like, what percentage of this bag do I want to sell at what price, and have that already formulated before the craziness kicks off, or else you're just going to be, FOMOing and, buying green candles and selling reds like a lot of people in crypto do.
How much smarter has so many people in our community gotten about the markets? And how much regret did you have, even though you didn't know, you did the best that you could? How much regret did you have the last bull run? And you're not going to have that this time because you've learned. So I think everybody's kind of learned. What do you guys think?
I think that worries me a little bit, because I feel everyone thought that Pulse was going to launch much faster. So I can't speak for everyone, but I can speak for myself. I took some profits, but I would have taken way more had I have known that it was going to be 2 years before launch. And I think a lot of people in the community did that. A lot of people held all the way through waiting for Pulse. And now everyone knows the bull market's coming. I think we're going to see a lot of people selling. And I talk about this with my wife and my friends all the time. I'm like, man, is Hex really going to be able to reach the limits that we think it's going to, multiple dollar Hex potentially in the next bull, with so many people that have held so long that are just going to be so ready to sell as soon as everything starts going up, and we'll be selling all the way up? Is that going to prevent price from getting to where it needs to be? Obviously, if they're just putting it as, one-sided liquidity, that should help, right? But I don't know, man. It's something that I'm battling in my head. I think that could work against us, because everyone, at least I think a lot of people in the community, held and did not sell in the last bull to sell on this one. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I totally agree.
No,
I wish I
good
would have
point.
taken way more profits 2 years ago than I did to ride out this bear market. So yeah, I totally agree there. Oh no, Don, you've been through two runs or 3 runs now.
It's been a few.
Yeah. So every wave you learn an important lesson. So what would you say this 21 and then crash has taught you?
I mean, first of all, let's go to basics. Custody your crypto. Like, custody your crypto. We assume that everyone in our community does that, but there are new. We have to anticipate that there are going to be new people coming in and checking us out. That is certainly one of them. So many people just lose just from not being able to play the game anymore because their chips are taken off the table without them doing anything wrong. But I'd say having a plan, setting your sell orders, not trying to get excited and saying, oh yeah, it's just going to keep riding. It's just going to keep riding. Just have a plan. And fortunately, I took quite a few profits this last time around. So, sticking with that plan, that rule.
Awesome. Good answer. Anyone else want to chime in on taking profits and your plan for the next bull?
Well, I didn't take any profit last time. There wasn't much to take, but I was kind of showing off to my wife. I said, "Oh, look, my hex bags are going up. Looking quite good." And then she was like, "Yeah, take some profit." And I said, "Come on, Babutse, this, what was that? Five figures bag. It's not gonna do anything to our life. We can get one nice car each. It's what's gonna do." I said, "We're here for the life-changing money. So let me just come up with a new plan." So then when my stake finished, I chopped it up to smaller portions and then trying to build like a ladder. But when the price tanks significantly, your bags become like miniature something. So it didn't work out too well. But I learned one really good thing from Randy Hilarski. I'm glad that you brought this topic up. His plan is, he shared it on one of his streams, that when, let's say, your bags do a double, then he sells 10% dollar value of that bag. And when he double, not token value, the dollar value. And when it goes up, or let's say it goes up, not doubles, but goes up significantly, take a 10% dollar value of that bag and sell it, and then again, and it just leave it like that, because we don't know. I don't understand why people always talk about, the last cycle. Yeah, before we didn't have many of the world events what we have today, all these wars, and people learning about inflation and living cost crisis and stuff like that. So it might not be the cycles as it was before. Maybe it's just gonna be like, as you were saying earlier, Hex goes up a little bit, everyone sells, and then we come back down, and then goes back a little bit and then come back down. So we have to be smart about
that
this.
with this last pump too. Like, we pumped up to like a penny on eHex just about, and then I feel like everyone and their mother just sold. But once it got to a penny, and it knocked it down, and I don't think it's been able to come back up. But we're already starting to see that, and that could be just market cycles. Hopefully when retail comes in, it's just more people buying than selling.
Probably this structure has to reorganize, because right now we have not that many individuals holding a huge supply of the token. But once they are over the selling, then the whole structure gonna be reorganized, and gonna be like more middle class type of investors who's got a decent bag but not a huge bag. So then the price can stabilize more in the future. That's what I'm hoping for. Otherwise, this not gonna. Hey Frank. Otherwise, this not gonna meet the expectation that store of value. Because if I'm investing in something and the values keep going down, that's not a store of value. That's the problem with Hex right now. That's why we cannot sell it as a product to others, or harder sell.
One of the things that I picked up with my research is when you look at the folks who have massive bags of Bitcoin or massive bags of Ethereum, Ripple, every cycle they manage to get completely out by the tippy top. But that's because they start selling before anybody else starts selling, and they split it up over the course of 18 months. So you can see the correlation of wallets that have tons of Bitcoin, like let's say 1,000 or more. They're completely out by every single top, but they started selling 12 months prior. So one little strategy that I'm considering is starting on the halvening and then going out 18 months. I figure out how much I want to extract during that bull run, and I divide that by 18 months. That's the actual value that I would pull out. Not value, but actually quantity of crypto that I would pull out every single month for 18 months straight. So advantages to that is if you do have a massive dip, because obviously we can't time the cycles properly. We're not prophets. If there is a massive dip, now you're going to have dry powder to be able to pick up that dip if something happens. But also you might not knock it out of the park. You might only have 50 or 75% of what you could have had if you were a prophet, but you're not. So I think that we can learn from big wallets, and I might apply that to some of my holdings to see how that works out this cycle.
I really like the 5% on every double too. Like, or if Randy says he does 10%, that's one of the things that I picked up in this last cycle is, people say, buy the dip, DCAN, but it works the same way when you're exiting. You want to DCA out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 5% every double is generally the strategy that I like to stick to, but it's weird because then you start saying, okay, well, on what double? Because Hex has doubled twice on Ethereum since it bottomed, right? So yeah, do I want to have already sold 5% and then 5% again? Which I guess technically is less than 10% of my total bag from the bottom, since you're only selling 5% of what's remaining.
Yeah,
right?
then it could be well correlated to what Rex just was saying. That's nearly like an 18 months, 5% times 20, let's say. Then it's 100%, and then you out and happy days. You got your cashy on your account.
Yeah, that's why I try to measure it not in dollar value but crypto quantity, because the crypto the dollar value is going to double, triple, quadruple, 50x, 100x. I don't care about that. I just care about the quantity that I have and how much that I would be willing to sell that cycle. So, and this also sets me up pretty well to begin a DCA plan. If we do have, if after this, maybe we only have like a year fall off as the market resets, maybe we have like a year to 18 months, not what we've dealt with here. This is just a massive inflationary bubble that popped over 13 years of the Fed at 2% per year. It adds up. It ends up popping eventually. But I think that we've done pretty well to reset. And I don't think the next couple cycles are going to be as severe, simply because most of institutional money at this point are propping up the big cap cryptocurrencies. And if they want to really build business models based on these cryptocurrencies, these assets that they hold, it would behoove them to have stability with those, and it would behoove them not to pump and dump their own people. I mean, retail at this point has been gutted. The market's been cornered. They've been gobbling up the big caps for a while. So we'll see what happens though.
Well said. Also, retracements. I'd say pay attention to narratives and, buy those dips. Don't be scared to buy dips. Don't if you're following the narrative and you believe something's gonna continue running, then don't just blow your load. Like if you can hold off a bit and wait for a retracement, pick up some coins on the dip.
I've got a question for you guys. One thing that I've learned in crypto is that when everyone thinks the same thing, it doesn't happen. Everyone's like, oh, this is going to happen here. And if everyone has the same narrative, it very rarely happens. So everyone's thinking, hey, we're going to come out of this and then we're going to peak sometime in 2025. Like, it's easy to think that, but everyone is saying it. So is that something that we should be looking out for? Maybe it peaks early. Maybe it takes longer. Didn't Richard say in the last bull that the cycles are taking longer? Maybe it's 2026 before we see a peak in the bull.
I think they're so similar. The last few cycles, for the length of the bear markets, the timings, I think their cycles are repeating perfectly. And if anything, I'm with you on that everyone thinks is going to be 2025 end of the year. I mean, I think right now, if we get the ETF approval, which I think is going to come like January 8th, Bitcoin is already undervalued by like $8,000 right now. It shoots right up to like 45, 48K on that approval. And then there are so many stable coins on the sidelines right now. Once that wave starts, I could see this market going crazy in 2024 and people calling for a super cycle again. And everyone gets stuck holding their bags in 2025. Yep.
There's even people within our community who are saying it could be a 2-wave cycle. I think Axis has said, hey, we might see a pump in 2024 and then a retracement and then a major pump in 2025. I don't know. I guess this is why it's good to DCA out on the way up and not just try to, catch a rocket that's taken off and miss it.
Yeah. This 2024, I think, is going to be wild, man. But not wild in the way that you might think. I think that there's a lot that's going to be going on. The Fed is now starting to signal that they could be cutting rates, 3 to 6 times in 2024. There's a lot of stuff associated with that, a lot of implications about that. If you look back in history, we got a presidential election.
Yep.
How's that going to play into all this?
Yep.
That has something big to do with this, I believe. And on top of all that, man, we got 2 wars. And then, what's to say China doesn't take advantage of Taiwan when everybody else's attention is everywhere else? Like 2024, 2025, 2026 could be weird. Wars typically do help the stock market, however, in the long run, over the course of maybe 24 to 36 months. It's a good thing to make profit. So it's just going to be weird, man. It's really cool that we're actually living through this. Kind of scary in some ways too, but we'll see. All we can do is control what we can and have a plan to take profit. I would definitely say that.
Very well said.
Hands down.
And also at the same time, we are on, this is what, cycle 4 on since the creation of crypto. Am I right? Or
13.
Okay, so let's say
4.
Yeah.
Yeah, cycle 4, yeah. And if you look back in the history, you see that, like in everything in life, it becomes more and more mature, and now they can't just say like, oh, it's a bunch of geek guys, like playing with this internet money and, like whatever, it's more you see the maturity. And then obviously we're saying that institutions on the sideline, they're waiting for clarification, legislation, so even bigger money can come in. And then another thing I say is, many times I keep repeating myself, but sky's the limit, because if inflation gets out of control, we might have a $1 million Bitcoin, if things go really bad. And then that's one thing. And the second thing is everything depends on how much these cryptocurrencies going to be, what is it called? connected in our life, implemented in our daily life, like on a use case, have a use case. So if you're using it, then it just goes to like a much higher level, pretty much like a stock market kind of, or like a fiat currency it can be. Or
I was at a Christmas party the other night, and there were people there who were just getting into crypto, and they were excited because one of the cryptos that they were getting into has an app where you can just connect your credit card and start buying crypto through this coins app. So, I mean, these are no coiners talking about crypto development and where it's come. So that's pretty exciting to see now how easy it's going to be for retail. It will be easier for people to get into crypto this cycle than it has been on any other cycle ever in the history of crypto. So that's really exciting. Didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry.
I completely agree. That is very exciting. Barriers to entry has always been one of the issues that people throw up, and there's something that says if you're trying to make a good habit, make something 20 seconds easier to access. If you're the thing you're trying to do, or if you're trying to break a bad habit, make that 20 seconds more difficult to access. Like if you're watching too much TV, throw the remote in a drawer, take the batteries out or something. And it's amazing how much it changes. So when we're talking several minutes up to hours, as far as onboarding, that it's amazing how much of a difference it makes when you can have in that same conversation that you're having with someone, have them just buy crypto right then and there, and maybe even be able to buy something like Hex, but get some Ethereum with the wallet and do it quickly. So I think the quicker we can get money into DeFi and into our own wallets, the better. I think that's huge. I mean, that's a paradigm shift.
Yeah, it's good to see a project like 0x Coast building. Oh, sorry guys, to buy directly POSX and POS and Hex very, very soon. Like just literally linking your bank account, transfer the money like it was like a normal bank transaction. 2 clicks and there you go, you got your crypto. Because back in the days, I remember that's why I'm not a millionaire, because when my friend was bombing me with all these things, and even now, if you want to get into push chain, you have to have some ETH, and then you have to wrap it, and then you have to bridge it, and you have to unwrap it. And by the time I finish with all these things to the people, they lose interest and they're like, yeah, whatever, man. What you mean wrapping is Christmas is not here yet.
Frank, what are your thoughts, man? Yeah.
There's in the last week, I was just looking at a decentralized. I'm muted.
No, Frank. I said Frank.
So there is called DeFi, and it's a decentralized credit union that they'll custody all your assets. So when Ripple stock comes out next year, instead of IPO, and they're gonna launch it on the blockchain, it's gonna be tokenized. So being able to hold that stock in a wallet where you can hold cryptos, NFTs, all those things, that's coming. And these decentralized credit unions they're going to take your seed phrase and through decentralized recovery, store it on the blockchain. So it's 1,000 times safer than us holding our shit on our ledgers, burying stuff, making all that's gone within a year or two. And that's going to change everything. And I think when right now you have your hedge funds, institutions, they want to invest in DeFi, they can't be leaving traces of their accounts. We can't be able to look at a transaction and go and see what an entire fund is doing with their money. We need to have that privacy, that anonymity, so they can use DeFi and not leave trails of what they're doing. And I think that's coming in the next 6 months to 12 months. And when that comes, it's going to blow this industry just up. I just see the writing on the wall. And I think, like how Rag said, it's going to get wild. I think we're going to see some really awesome apps and just tools for mass adoption.
So real quickly, since we're on Tech Talk and you just brought that up, explain maybe to everybody how that's going to be safer to and then obviously we'll go to Frank, but how that's going to be safer than having our own keys, because is that granting exposure to other people to potentially be able to have keys, or to spoof their to be able to claim the keys should they be misplaced?
No, that's a good question. I thought the same thing. I was like, how is this even possible? But it's called DREC. It's decentralized recovery, and it's being done by Hedera. And they've mastered it. And from what I see, the odds of so what they do is they take like you have your 12 or 24 words. They'll take 2 words of the or 2 letters of the first word, and it gets stored somewhere on the blockchain. The next 2 letters of that word get stored somewhere else. So all of your letters and words are stored and scattered around the blockchain. And I don't know how it works exactly, but it's like 1,000 times safer than what we're doing right now.
But how do you authenticate you? Like, how do I authenticate that I'm Vibra Finance, for example?
So we're going to have our digital IDs. Okay. And they're going to, through that, it's going to be tied to everything we have. And we're going to be able to, through those IDs, access all of DeFi. And I think there's going to somehow be almost 2 systems of like the dark, bad DeFi and then kind of a TradFi centralized world. I don't know how they merge completely, but I hope they do. And what gives me hope is seeing the laws that Europe is drafting for their DeFi and how much influence exchanges and the bigger players, A16, and these guys that are influencing the laws. So I really am optimistic for it. I think we are just in that they're fighting us phase, and we're just about through it at this point.
Okay, I'll look more into that. And I mean, Hedera has done some pretty cool things. So yeah, I'll look that up. I'll look that up more. So sorry, Frank.
Oh, that's all right.
You were about to chime in.
I had some technical difficulties. Just to kind of catch up on what you guys were saying is, euphoria is a beautiful thing in the in the top of the bull market. So for me, cashing out is I'm just going to pay attention to euphoria. I'm going to pay attention to how many times I'm showing my, telling people about how much money I have in my wallet, et cetera. You know what I mean? Like even with Hex, I remember, God, I couldn't stop showing to a couple of friends of mine how much Hex was in my wallet at the time. And I couldn't sell it because it was staked, but that's a telltale sign of cashing out. I'm setting reminders for myself in my Google, in my calendar to cash out. And one of the notes that I have is, you remember how hard the bear market was? You remember going through the bear market? Well, now it's time to cash out. So it's really reminders because right now we've experienced one of the most profound things anybody can experience in crypto. It's going through a bear market and an entire cycle and understanding it start to finish. And really, I think is, again, watching the signs, like even now in the bear market, I'd never been through a bear market completely before. I got in at the top pretty much in 2019, 18, 19, the last cycle. Didn't do anything for a year and then got back in heavily in March 2020. And so now knowing what I know now is how important it was to dollar cost average when everybody's afraid to push the button and buy something. Right when the Pulse took a dump because of the SEC information, I was buying. And that was like one of the scariest times of doing it. I look at that as almost like a dysphoric. It's almost the opposite of euphoria. That was like a blow off bottom, and it had already bottomed out. Now it just bottomed out again. So where am I going with this? Those are the signs that I'm going to look for. I had Matic and watched it go at like 130 or 140x and watched it. I literally took profits at when it was $2.56. I just felt it. I just was like, okay, this is time. So and it just depends on which coins you're in too. I'm noticing now, especially I have some other coins outside of the RH ecosystem, and I have different time frames for those too. In the last bull market, BitBoy kept calling the top is late September for Bitcoin. What he didn't know is he called the top for Hex basically, because the top in Hex was mid-September 2021. So that's the other thing you can kind of count on is the guys that have been here for a long time. They're calling the top It may not be in the exact coin, but it's going to be the top on one of those coins. So, maybe latch on to a few, 2 or 3 different perspectives who have been in this for a long time and see what they're doing. Anyway, that's things in a nutshell. Thanks for letting me share.
Thanks, Frank. We didn't introduce you. You came in a little bit late, but do you want to just give a quick pop of who you are and how you fell into this rabbit hole?
Yeah. I sell residential real estate in Chicago, downtown Chicago. And I've been in crypto 4 years. Got in heavy in March 2020. I thought, what if I never sell another house again? What would I do? So I started. I had my degree is in corporate finance, and I thought, well, I wanted to be a trader at one point, and decided to stay in Chicago and pursue real estate in my creative stuff. I'm an author as well. Wrote a book on how to find your soulmate called Why Wait, Create Your Soulmate Now. Just a lot of things. So if I never sold another home again, I got into crypto. That was the bottom line.
Frank, does that soulmate book apply to gingers too, or no?
Not
That's what happens when you put soul in the title. You run into problems.
Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off, but I had to, man. I had to.
Yeah. No.
All right. I'm going to jump back into the green room and put Dawn back up here, but I'm going to try and direct the show by putting questions on the screen. So if you guys see a question on the screen, just jump on it if you can answer it, and may the best man win. All right.
Yeah. Frank, go ahead. Finish that thought, man. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. I don't think I have any more thoughts about it. Just, I'm in Chicago. I really enjoy the beauty of the RH ecosystem community, and I'm really thankful to be a part of it, and make a difference, do what I can in the community as well as for myself. So
awesome.
And you have so many others as well. Created the Crypto Mastermind.
Yeah, the Crypto Mastermind's been fantastic. Just it's an entity that's taken on its own characteristics. It's awesome. I don't know any other way to describe it.
You did well to get the right people in there. I think that has a lot to do with it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, everybody in it was put together. I started that mastermind a little over a year ago, and it was just I had been in other masterminds, but they weren't RH only. They were crypto in general. And I really, because the last masterminds, they're like, Frank, will you stop talking about Hex? Will you stop talking about Richard Hart? Will you stop talking about Pulse Chain? And I'm like, no, I'm actually not gonna. I think I'm gonna end this mastermind and start a new one. So it created a mastermind with best thinkers, doers, incredible, smart people from the Hex community. So it's really, really, really great thing to be a part of.
Cool. Fiber, what do you think about this question? Do we think PLS will get on a major exchange this bull?
I want to say no. I don't want us to. I don't see what benefit really comes from an exchange trading against us and taking a big supply. I don't, and that goes against everything Richard preaches.
Got it. What about you? What do you think, Freddie?
Yeah, I'm with Adam on this. Like, I don't. Oh God, I hope it doesn't. I don't know if it will or not, but I hope it doesn't. I mean, everyone sees what happened to everything on FTX, and we don't want to be involved in that. That's why we're in DeFi.
Yeah. What about you guys at the bottom there?
I mean, I might vary in the sense that I would like to see it on a major exchange. I mean, I think the way that OA has their tokens, and I think there's some things that might be able to be done. We can't expect work or profit from the work of anybody else, but I think that, again, the whole theme of lowering the barriers to entry for people to be able to get in. Now, the question is, do we think it will? I don't know. From what I've noticed, especially over these last 6 months, and watching some some people that I know get some coins on some major exchanges, it's all relationships. And you know, Richard's got a lot of these relationships. So I think that if it was really desired to be on a major exchange, I know we were on, was it MEXC for a bit, or no, it was OKC we were on for a bit. But you know, I think it would have been done already if it was a big desire. So I don't see it happening. Although I mean, I certainly wouldn't mind you know, starting to take some profits when that happens, or shortly thereafter. But that's my take.
I don't feel that's, you know, listening to everybody, I don't feel that like it's all that important. I'm fine with it being not on any central exchanges. I mean, you have Coast, and you have, you know, now you have Coast and your MetaMask / Trezor wallet. That's as good as any exchange you can have, you know. So and I think too, sometimes with the barriers to entry, I don't know, there's probably a way you can measure this, is people that are really committed will do whatever what it takes to get into a pulse chain or a certain coin, right? So whether it's 5 steps or 1 step, I think sometimes the barriers of entry may have a selectivity that has more committed people in it than people that are just, you know, oh, I'll just throw, you know, $100 on Coinbase. So just thinking out loud, you know.
Real quick on that note, I think that the thing I'd like most about it, and again, I don't think it's going to happen, to answer the question directly, but the thing I think I'd like most about it is just the vindication. It's like, dude, Hex just had his 4-year birthday. This is clearly not a scam. You know what I mean? Like, there's no better flex when all the scammers are scamming than for it just still not been a scam yet. You know what I mean? And so the vindication would be nice. You know, that being said, I don't see it happening, especially with the SEC stuff going on. So anyway, that just wanted to kind of clarify why I would like part of why I would like that.
Yeah, I think. Do you have a comment, Norbert?
Yeah, I think as everything has been said before pretty clearly. But yeah, it's negative advertisement to see all these big exchanges failing one after another, you know, and then, yeah, that would put a lot of people off. But at the same time, it's kind of like a necessary evil, a centralized exchange, because at the end of the day, somehow you need to cash out currently. But if big guys like 0x Coast is going to be like a more community-driven project built up, which provide the function for the money to come in and out, and, you know, to get more adoption, then it would be even better. And then who cares, you know, like, we are fine without any centralized exchange, and we can just build our own things.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, I think eventually Pulse Chain will be on every major exchange. I don't think that that's going to happen anytime soon, primarily because it's officially been listed as a security by the SEC. It's, you know, it's in the courts right now, and an exchange can't take the risk of the SEC coming after them because they blatantly listed Pulse Chain or PulseX or Hex. So it's not going to happen for a while. What we'll see was probably with XRP. Everybody delisted XRP until it looked like, hey, it's over with. Now they're putting it back on exchanges. Same thing happens with Pulse Chain, which really could be a great opportunity for people to get into this thing before those exchanges start biting down on it, because it's going to happen. So it's kind of my ideas on that.
Mm-hmm.
Well said.
Another point is, it depends on is how much an exchange can absorb from the market. Like, is how much is out there to be bought and separated from the decentralized platforms. You know what I mean? It's like the OA holds quite a lot, you know, quite a lot of OG hexicans or strong believers. They hold a lot, so it's not much available supply on the open market to be bought and stored separately.
Well, here's the other thing that people don't think about too, which is, I mean, these exchanges, they got their fingers in DeFi and crypto everywhere. And, you know, what would stop these exchanges from gobbling up validators to get their pulse? You know, there's all sorts of different ways they could do it. And I do agree, an exchange wants to make money. If they see that the volume's high enough, the opportunity's big enough, they'll find a way to get that. They can reach out to all sorts of people, I'm sure, to do that. Next question. Where is the balance between the middlemen who make the transaction smooth and DeFi self-custody? I don't think there's I don't think that balance is in the favor of DeFi folks right now. But I do think as time goes on and technology gets better and we learn from other people's mistakes and we just keep on improving, I think that will change, especially with the advent of AI. I think that we will see that become more smooth and personal custody become more smooth. However, you will have a lobby of TradFi and centralized folks who don't want that, because if we're not trading with them and not doing business with them, we're not making them wealthy. So just like cell phones are out, potentially in the 1940s, they didn't really hit mainstream and really be in the conversation until the 1970s because of the radio lobby. And they were crushing cellular technology because they didn't want to lose money. So I think that'll be kind of a similar situation here. All the governments are trying to push towards centralization and push towards a traditional finance sort of system and template. And we're pushing it back against that. So,
yeah, that's a good point, Rags. And like the one thing I would say that really caught my eye is if, say, you have a decent amount in your ledgers, you got $1 million or $2 on there, it makes you a sitting duck with that ledger. You're with you physically holding that. If it's pretty much common knowledge that through your digital ID that's inevitably coming, you'll be able to store those assets in a place that aren't in your custody, but the seed phrase is just as safe as you holding it. And I know it's hard to grasp right now and get your head around that, but it really is coming, and it's going to be a game changer. And I think that'll bring in a new wave of people who don't want to have to make 3 copies of their words, hide one under their bed, put one in a bank. It's a lot of work. So I think inevitably there will be that common ground.
I talked
Also,
to somebody,
going back to your... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. I talked to somebody recently. They were talking to me about their wallet and how to, store, putting on plates. They're going to divide it up. And I'm like, don't end up being too smart for your own good and locking your own self out of your, crypto. So it was just kind of a funny moment.
Yeah, overdoing.
It'll be interesting to see this pan out because that the crypto, the blockchain trilemma that Vitalik kind of coined of that we have decentralization, we've got security, and we've got scalability, and it sounds like you can't really solve all 3 of them. The goal is to, but they're all a trade-off amongst each other. And so yeah, where my concern is with that is the more for things to scale, you would think things would need to be easier, but there's a trade-off there with security or with how decentralized something is, or so it's going to be interesting to see what these solutions are. But what's the proper balance? I think the right answer is it all depends on you. You know what I mean? Like, we know that holding our own keys, if we do it properly and we know how to access it, that works for many of us. Others, they might not choose to do that. Something else might work for them. So it's really kind of do your own research and what feels best for you, because it's I've certainly gotten burned from not holding my own keys, back in the early days.
This week, this week I had a guy that I onboarded into crypto like 5 or 6 years ago, and he went deep into Bitcoin, which is fine. Bitcoin and Ethereum. Well, he loses his phone. He had 2-factor authentication set up with Coinbase, and he didn't practice self-custody, and he kept it on Coinbase, man. And he completely freaked out. He had 6 figures on Coinbase and Bitcoin and Ethereum and some others, and they held him hostage, man, for a couple months. And finally, the way that we solved this was we had to open an incognito tab on freaking Chrome, and then that's what got it done. But it's like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want 6 figures locked up for 2 months. You never know what type of life situation that you're going to have, and you might need access to that, or your wife, your kids, or whatever. And if he hadn't been there and it was up to his wife to try to figure all that out, I mean, she would have been freaking out. you know, and luckily they could call me and I'd help them out, but it just doesn't make sense anymore, man. We have the technology not to have to do that anymore, and we're just so spoiled, and we don't want to do the hard things. You know, everybody wants freedom, but nobody wants the responsibility that comes with it, I guess. But I think technology, I think it'll make it better here in the future. It'll get much easier. We'll have solutions that come out.
More maturity. And also going back to your topic earlier, I really like that you brought up that privacy topic, because going against like there was that guy who we put in jail because just he created this privacy coin platform. I don't remember his name or all the details, but is so surreal for me to see that kind of things happen, because you don't see millionaires walking down the street and holding up a piece of paper like this. Yes, I have this much money on my account. You know what I mean? You have to have some sort of privacy. So why not in crypto? If you have a banking privacy, you don't tell people like how much money you have a bank account. Otherwise, you would become a target, you know, and then they would kidnap you or whatever. So it has to be in crypto as well.
All right. Next are the ideas via QR codes. What's the signature software they're using? I don't think we know all that yet. We don't know the details, right, Adam?
I would say to be determined there, Bobby. It's all done through Hedera, and they're pretty smart over there.
Got it.
A lot smarter than me.
So what do you guys think? This was a big thing leading up to all this. We have three major projects. I'd say Power City, Liquid Loans, and Mintra. And we've got Mintra launched, and we've got Liquid Loans launched now. So, you know, Davis is saying never sell, use Liquid Loans and borrow off your PLS. As soon as Liquid Loans pumped, we saw a pretty substantial pump with Pulse Chain as well. What do you guys think about Liquid Loans launching? Do you think that this pump that's hit the market has to do with that directly, or what are your thoughts? I'll open up the floor here. Frank, I'm going to pick on you because you're in that mastermind.
Yeah, it's hard to say, you know. I mean, I know everybody's was looking forward to Liquid Loans and using it. And I just heard the other day that, recently, that Liquidity, there's only 1,000 people using Liquidity to its fullest. So I think there's a lot more people in the Pulse Chain community that will use it than 1,000 people. So I think that's going to help. I don't know whether the pump was because of that or not. Probably a little bit, maybe, you know, multiple factors. That was one of them. And I'd say that's about it.
Yeah, so I've actually pulled up I pulled up Etherscan and pulled up Liquidity because I was very curious. So it's about 13,500 holders.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean, so when they say 1,000 people using the protocol, they could be saying maybe in a 30-day period. And if you take maybe the total transfers and you divide it by the number of holders, 365,659 divided by 13,585. So, you know, per holder, that's about 26 transactions. You know, maybe that's over the course of a couple years. I'll tell you guys this. I went to the Atlanta Blockchain Conference, and I spoke to the guy who is in charge of liquidity provision for MakerDAO, and he actually kind of went off and did his own thing. But I asked him about Liquidity, and he said Liquidity is one of the most respected protocols amongst their tight group, because it has been so stable for so long, and it's done exactly what it was supposed to do. So, you know, I've got confidence in it in that way, and it'll be kind of interesting to see maybe a chain that gives it more adoption than Ethereum. So maybe the Pulse Chain folks will give it more adoption.
Well said. Yeah, it was interesting when all those stables started losing their pegs last year, a little longer. I forget when that was, but I mean the LUSD token, it's USDL on Pulse Chain, but on Ethereum, mean, my LUSD stayed right there. It was like 99.8 cents or 99.98 cents or something. I mean, you know, it took a slight, there was a small arbit opportunity, but other than that, I mean, it held up far better than a lot of the major ones we see today. So I'm excited for that reason alone.
Plus, the liquid loan teams took the time to make sure that everything works well and, you know, prepare themselves for a very long time. For me, that's really, really bullish.
And great
well. It's
site,
too early
man.
days to say. Yeah, really smooth. It's too early days to say that how it's gonna perform. You know, people are busy with their own lives. You know, it needs, I would say, a few months to work out well. At least a month, I would say. Give it a month.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in here real quick. I was really excited about liquid loans just for a couple of reasons. The first reason was the fact that you can get a loan instead of selling crypto, which has huge tax implications, right? So if I go on there and I sell 100 grand worth of crypto, I have to worry about my tax bracket that I'm in and all that stuff. If you're, I know Freddie's moving his eyes back and forth because he's talking about a different tax game. But if you're not working on a strategy of not paying taxes and you're still currently in the system, every time you sell, it's kind of like you gotta be worried about selling and taking profit. And that's the whole point of this, right? Is to take profit and improve our lives. So if you take out a loan, you can put that loan to work tax-free, and it's not going to hit you the same way as selling your cryptos. And you don't have to worry about getting back in to your cryptos and having them run off on you if you got the loan, right? I mean, you worry about getting liquidated if the price of Pulse drops, which, I mean, I would be ready for the price of Pulse to drop 99.99% because that's what crypto does. But at the same time, the loans are a huge advantage. And then you've got the haunted strategy, you've got the hodl strategy, and all these different ways of leveraging these positions and this debt some of them are really conservative. Some of them are a little more risky. But if you look at some of those strategies, and then not to mention every time we get another stable coin, it's a good thing. You know, as many stable coins as we can get on Pulse chain is better because they're going to be arbitrage, they're going to be stronger together. And if something's not correctly decentralized or backed, you know, then we're going to see the stable coins that don't have integrity fall. So like there's so many things that came out with liquid loans that I think are really going to change the trajectory of Pulse in the long run. And I'll pull Frank back up and you guys keep talking.
And that's a very good point. And I think the advertising and the strategy that Liquid Loans has is it's probably, I'm exaggerating here, 100x of what Liquidity was. You know, from how I understand it, Liquidity just launched and there really wasn't a huge marketing thing going on with it. And I think it was a lot of smart people that attracted a lot of smart people to use it. But beyond that, you know, I get an email from them every once in a while, you know, so I think Liquid Loans is doing a lot to attract people, not just in Pulse, but in other communities.
Yeah. I've got a little soapbox that I can go on about that with Liquid Loans. And this is kind of some FUD that I've been seeing from around the community pointed towards Mintra, pointed towards Liquid Loans. And it's like, you know, they're frustrated with so many millions of dollars that were raised. They're frustrated that wasn't all in the liquidity pools on day one. And I just want to remind people that when you launch something and there's an opportunity for somebody to drain you, they will drain it.
Yep, every time.
So you've got to be a very, very good steward of that money and have that money be injected into the market directly proportional to the amount of volume and usage that your protocol is receiving. Otherwise, they're going to dump you and it's going to be horrible. So I specifically commented on Trey Vaughn's, and he probably got me, right? It's bait. I took the bait and I responded. But he's posting a picture of the chart and he's saying laugh out loud. He's like, look at these guys. They raised $50 million and there's only $40,000 of liquidity. Well, I think it was very, very wise for the liquid loans team to temper that and just stagger that liquidity in. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that disagree with that, but you just quite frankly don't understand cryptocurrency. You don't understand how the crypto markets work. And you got to be very, very careful when you pre-allocate tokens and give out supply that people didn't completely earn. I say completely earn because obviously they gave money, but some of these people got big bonuses that they didn't necessarily earn. There wasn't a unit of value that went in that matched up with that supply that's out there. So just want to talk about that. You guys have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I've done some
Well
research.
said.
Yeah, well said, really well said. Thank you for bringing that up. I've done some research. So as we know, about $50 million was sacrificed for liquid loans. And I checked it straight away on the first few days. $3.2 million was already logged, staked as a loan token, which for me is a pretty decent amount, number one. Number two, a lot of people underestimate the team itself. I mean, come on, guys, they have wars on the team, yeah. And then every stream or interaction you see from those guys, it comes from like a mature person, people who understand finance, who understand and trying to represent what we strongly believe: delayed gratification. So they're not gonna give out all the goodies, as you were saying, on day one, and take guys, do whatever you want. So
well, the market's and the market's not established. Why are you going to give somebody a premium for a loan token when the market? I mean, it's going to sell off. Why are you just going to give as much liquidity as possible so people can just destroy you before the market finds its actual equilibrium?
Correct.
You just don't do it. So this is if anybody clips stuff, go ahead and clip it and tag me and talk to everybody out there about how this works.
You guys, there's a reason why Richard just doesn't, throw all the liquidity, or the OA doesn't just throw all the, multiple $1 billion in the Pulse liquidity pool or in the Hex liquidity pool. I mean, there's reasons for that. People run off with the money. It's simple.
And there are people, and I'll tell you guys this too. As a founder, I monitored this quite a bit in my project and others. There are people in this community that target sacrifices. They get the top 2, top 5, top 10 spots, and within the first week or two, they get their double and they dump, they nuke, and it's what they've done with every single project. And in fact, some of the top holders of PulseX, some of the top holders of Pulse Chain, they were the same people that were jumping all of these others who are also liquid loans, sacrificers and this and that. So you just got to combat that. You got to understand it. People don't care. They don't have any loyalty. They want to make profit, and they're going to make profit if you give them the opportunity.
that's exactly what I'm trying to tell my friends as well, or people who I'm interacting with when they say, Pulse is down, Pulse is down. Now, like, guys, you and me, for example, we put our few $1,000s in each project, and we were hoping that we're going to do 100x, and then we can just say this to the bosses and, give the resignation letter, and that's it. But it didn't happen. So because we are not on that level, we cannot comprehend these kind of individuals who comes in and put in $2 million on one project, and then if they do a double, then they just made 2 million, and then they are out. They don't need to wait for weeks and months or whatever.
You can't blame them. You can't blame them for that, right?
No, not at all, because they deserve it. They achieved to be on that level.
They risked a lot more. It's probably extremely scary for somebody who put $2 million in as opposed to somebody who put 2,000. They're like, dude, I'll make 75% on 2 million all day. I'm out. Cool. Mm-hmm. I get it. But at the same time, I think that the liquid loans team has an obligation to nurture the project and be good stewards of that money and develop it the proper way. That is my opinion. Couldn't
find a better word than, or pair of words than being good stewards. I mean, that's so important. Everyone that is loyal to liquid loans and is excited for what it can do will be glad that they, at least if they continue to have a conservative, smart strategy, will be glad that they did so, so that it has upside.
Yeah.
A perfect opportunity for dollar cost average. I mean, you getting a good stuff on a massive discount, like whatever yield farm I'm on and I'm earning a little bit of money, I just take the change out and, I look at what's dropped the most, which within my favorite projects, and I just buy those tokens, and then keep building,
Yep.
long-term vision.
So the next question, when are we going to get back to PLS and PLSX sack rates? Which, I mean, I don't think we're that far, right? It's 4 zeros and a 2. Am I correct in saying that?
Yep.
So
Yeah, pretty close.
I mean, the charts are looking very good right now, man. I know that people are getting upset, but you got to realize we've pumped. If I pull up a, let me just do this. Since
it doubled. It doubled within a couple of months, from the bottom. So
I'll share it since it just looks better on screen when we have people watching here. Let me see. Deck screener. Yeah, share. All right. Can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a very significant level here. I think this was the level that I marked that some of the big boys with the big multipliers, this is going to be their level where they were no longer profitable. So they get dumped down to here, which was where I thought the market was going to go. So we're kind of underneath that. We've had 2 touches in this range, maybe the 3rd or 4th touch we punch through, and then we get back up to sack rate. If we're taking a look at this, we could be at sack rate. We could be at sack rate Q2 of next year. Depending on how markets go, this is what people don't understand either. If you're in the throes of a bull market, anything is possible. We're talking weeks. We're talking huge candles. And that's not just for Pulse Chain. And I'm not just trying to hype people up. I've just seen it so many times. It doesn't matter what project. And certainly with all the people and all the consideration we have here with Pulse Chain, there's a lot of folks that are going to see this pumping, and then they're going to start deploying their money. That's how it works. And those candles get big, fast, and quick in a hurry. So it can happen in a matter of a couple weeks. So we just got to wait for the market sentiment to hit here. So we'll see. Pretty quick, though. It could.
Cool. Hey, did anyone else want to cover the topic of liquid loans before we went on to another project? Any other thoughts on liquid loans, Adam?
I would just say that in general now, it seems like successful projects, they require a low IQ FUD that just constantly comes. With Titan X, Trayvon did the same stuff. He was funding it like crazy because he didn't read the white paper, didn't know what was going on. And you just see certain low IQ FUD comments that have nothing to do with reality. Like someone talking about, they should 40 million in SAC and 40K in liquidity. Ha ha, rug pull. It's like, dude, block, mute right away. Like you need that little like chirping though, I think, to draw attention and to, I don't know, be that IQ test for people. But there's something there. We saw it was crazy with Hex when we were all getting in, trying to tell your friends about it. It was like, it was so hard. It was with Zen. I got it with Titan X. And now you're seeing it with Liquid Loans, Mintra, all the projects on Pulse Chain. So I don't really worry about if it's something that's a red flag. Yes, but I haven't seen anything that is remotely close.
Yeah. David says Liquid Loans has 262 billion Pulse locked away, not for sale. That's 16.5 million right there. So that's pretty awesome.
3 days.
Yeah, buy pressure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A Hex Monkey says click like or else the Hex OA dumps all. You've been warned. Crypto Compassion.
We should get him on here too.
Crypto Compassion's in the house. We should get those guys on here. Let's see here. Bobby says it's either directly tied since it started pre-launch notice, or it's a hell of a coincidence. But whales are still market buying and selling large amounts. So yeah, there's a lot of liquidity there for Pulse Chain. Let's see here. Yeah, even at its low price, watching it didn't sack huge amount, but surprise. So it looks a good way to compound. So moving on from liquid loans, the next project I've heard the most talk about is Titan X, and I've been watching a lot of Jake's streams and trying to figure out a strategy to go here and there. It kind of reminds me a little bit of if the adoption amplifier had kept running with Hex. You know what I mean? Where you could either be in there trying to trade Ethereum for Hex right now and bringing it into existence, and then the staking would be kind of like the locking and burning, but they have staking and they have burning. What do you guys think about Titan X? Where do you guys see it going in the future? Let me say just really quickly, I understand why Jake launched on Ethereum. I still hate Ethereum with all my heart. So that being said, I kind of wish we could get on it. I'm hoping that Pulse Chain will get enough volume on it to lure Titan X over to Pulse Chain. But that's kind of where I'm sitting with Titan X. What about you guys?
I don't know much about Titan X. I haven't really followed it. I've seen it in the chats and on my stream, but haven't really. I don't know the first thing about it.
I've done some research and I bought some liquid tokens. Then I staked them. Unfortunately, I bought it when it started going down, but it was still a high price. But what I've done is each time it dropped, 20-30%, I bought another small portion, and I staked it. The miners at the moment looks pretty decent and profitable. I mean, if I logged them up only for like 150 days, I got 2 miners, and you spend 0.2 ETH first, and then 0.2 and a little 20% more on the second miner 1 month later. But at the end, it's gonna generate on the current price about $30,000. It's a pretty decent thing. And after doing the research, I think what Jake is trying to achieve here, obviously he went pretty deep on learning about crypto, and also I like him because he's all about personal development and being financially free and get out of this rat race what most of us are in. And I think he created like a Frankenstein kind of project when he took the best parts of many cryptos and he created like a good stuff, which we will see if it's gonna be a long-lasting project. But so far is pretty neat, I must say. The UI, it's really nicely done, and yeah, it's just good stuff so far.
There's some. I think it's an interesting project. I don't hold it. I studied it. I studied it a bit. One of the concerns that I have, and I also understand why it's a certain way, is that there aren't keys in the sense that your tokens can just be wiped out, but there are like the buy and burn, the amount of the buy and burn, and when that is can be ran as a public function, but the amount of the buy and burn can be chosen by the founder, and I mean that alone is a pretty powerful pumping tool that could benefit all the holders. It just has an element of trust in there, in the sense that can manipulate price a bit. But it seems it's a very interesting project, and I think the fact that he's been able to pull it off and put it together is impressive and commendable. I mean, he certainly deserves being commended for that. I think Vibra probably has a lot more information on it than I do, though. I know that you've talked quite a bit about it, haven't you, Vibra?
Yeah, I was lucky. Jake sent me the white paper like 3 weeks before he put it out publicly, and I read through it like 5 times. It was just like, holy shit, am I missing something here? Like, this can't be. What the hell's going on? So I, talked to Chris from the Verse and a couple other people, and within like 2 days, we were all just like, this is probably one of the best projects we've ever seen. And I tried to do my best to let everyone know, we were in it early, day one, and 0.2 ETH, which was $355, is right now worth $22,000 or something. I mean, it is absolutely insane, and I think it's been in the top 10 in volume on ETH since it's launched. and I think now it's really starting to pick up steam. I saw on Ivan's stream he had some guy shilling coins on there. He's going through his list, and then he's like, Titan X is the last one. I was like, whoa, what the hell? So now it's starting to get out to the mainstream influencers, and I think it's gonna be one of those 1000X coins, in my opinion.
I think you're right. Now. I think you're right.
Please, I don't want to work anymore. Please.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Adam. I do think it could be that, and I only started really paying attention. You know, there's so many coins out there. You only have the bandwidth to, especially with something like this. You don't have a lot of bandwidth. If you're into Hedron and Icosa, you're into, that took a while to understand. If you're in other projects like Titan X, it takes a while to understand. But this week on the mastermind, we're gonna do somewhat of a deep dive on it. So I'm curious to. I think it could be a sleeper, and I think if enough people just put in something that they can afford to lose, that will help the project a lot, because nobody will be attached to it.
Yeah, it's difficult for me to talk about other things just because of how I feel, with Texan, and I don't want to give people the wrong impression, but at the same time, I am a content creator, and I do talk about these things behind the scenes, and I want to try to be as 100 as I can with everybody that listens to me. And yesterday, for the first time, I tweeted out, I think I've done a lot of research. I've talked to all the people. I've talked to devs. I think that this is a pretty strong protocol. It's certainly one of the strongest protocols that I've ever seen. And what's interesting about this is I knew this sort of thing was going to happen, and I know it's going to continue to happen in the future, because we learn from all the bad things and we learn from all the good things, and somebody comes along and puts them together, and it's just rinse and repeat over and over. So this is kind of like Zen in the way that it's distributed. So the fair launch thing, with Zen, you just basically paid gas and minted what you minted. And it was on a slider essentially. With this, it all boils down to the miners. So if you want to get a portion of the supply of Titan X initially, you are going to create a miner. It can go out as far as 280 days, but initially it costs 0.2 ETH to do this. This is the basis of the whole protocol. Now, why is that? It's because that 0.2 ETH that you give the contract, and then you can mine your portion of the supply, 62% of that Ethereum goes into a buy and burn contract that buys and burns Titan X and does some other things. At this point, I think between both of the smart contracts that are running, I think there's $13 million, it's like 4,000 ETH of buy and burn that's currently in there. We don't know the triggering mechanism. I don't think we do yet. But what's interesting is when these people are minting these 30-day miners and they're getting all this supply and then they're going to dump it on the market, two things are happening. The buy and burn gets triggered. And then people are they're selling their Titan, but then they're taking the Ethereum and they're creating new miners, and they're kind of compounding this all together. So this buy and burn is creating a very, very solid floor. There's also some other interesting things with this. You can actually stake your Titan X. So if you stake your Titan X, you get paid out in real Ethereum. So you get paid out in actual Ethereum every 8 days in perpetuity. What is it? Every 90 days in perpetuity. 28.90, and then I think it's like 365 something.
Yeah. 8, 28, 90, and 369 and 888.
So it's kind of like with Hex and a T-share, depending on how many T-shares you have, and depending on how the size of the pool that you represent, you're going to get more Hex. Well, with this, it's dependent upon the amount of Titan X that you stake, will determine how much Ethereum that you receive on these payouts forever. And this is like real Ethereum, and these aren't small numbers, which is very interesting too. So I would say there's 4 or 5, and those are just the primary 2 mechanisms. They also have a way, they're going to launch something called Hyper, which is going to gobble up the supply. Yep. The supply has been gobbled up to the tune of, let me see here. I'll tell you.
You guys are giving me green candles over here, man.
Well, since
since
launch, this is wild. Since launch, there's only 11.4% liquid left of Titan X. Now more is going to get minted, but a lot of people sent these miners out long. So there's just some really you guys got to check it out. It's cool. I'm not going to sit here and say one thing behind closed doors and not say the same thing here. So check it out. It's worth it. And then Cryptographics would probably be your best YouTube channel to be able to learn as much about it as you can. He's put a lot of hours into this. And shout out to Cryptographics. Yeah.
He's got a master class coming up in a couple of weeks. I think it's the 9th and the 10th of December.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, he told us about it, and also it broke through resistance pretty easily today, and recovered from that massive drop at the beginning fairly quickly within less than 40 days.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool. But now,
as long as
go ahead.
So I was just say, as long as that the wallet stays benevolent, I would think that knowing there's a lot coming out on day 280, that something could be planned to hedge against that. So I'm really curious to see how that pool builds and if it gets used prior to that initial big unlocking.
Real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. If you had something on that specific point, I was just going to say, then you feel free to answer that one. But when you mentioned that, you're not aware of that, what that triggering mechanism is for that buy and burn. From what I understand, it's a public function that anybody can run because it's ran daily. There's buy and burn done daily. But the OA or the Fat Jake chooses the amount of what that buy and burn will be, and so he can choose.
Yeah. He can choose. He can change it. That's what you were talking about earlier too.
Right.
I think.
Yeah,
so
it is.
He has the ability to change it, and he indicated that it could be changed until he renounces that. But what I'm referring to is, I don't know the logic behind when it's triggered. I think he can change it, but it's not completely manual right now. So
isn't it a public function that anyone can run?
Yeah, it's public function right now, so you can go in and click a button, and for clicking that button, you get a portion of like 0.33%, I believe.
Right.
But when it's kind of doing its thing on its own, I think that buy and burn, I don't know what's going to determine when that buy and burn comes available for somebody to click the button. Right now, it's every 5 minutes.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. Gotcha.
So I don't know.
But you're saying that's going to change.
Yeah,
he may change.
He indicated that it's going to change. They just have to make sure the project launches properly. Now, the admin key, and I've researched this too, the admin key has no way to transfer out any value. But it can change the amount up or down of, I guess, those rewards that are received. Or the cap, rather. It can change the cap up or down as to when that gets triggered. But he can't just go in and snatch up all of the 5,000 Ethereum that are in that contract.
Right.
So that's important to say. And, it's scary to endorse something because cryptocurrency is crazy. You've seen everything fail, and it's just horrible. But I would rather people just be very, very smart and not nuke themselves and just have access to potential opportunity, because I think it looks real good. And again, I've done massive amounts of due diligence on this to make sure I wasn't, shooting myself. And that doesn't mean that I could have missed something, which I can. So just be careful.
So real quick, I know no financial advice, but is your play liquid, miners, combination of both? I know this is more tech talk, but
So what's interesting is you can go to the website and they've got calculators. You can start trying some stuff. Now, you can become a staker. So you can go buy Titan X and you can stake it. But the problem with that is there's some really, really big people in that pool. And, you're going to have to compete with those folks. Now, obviously, this is going to expand and contract as people stake lengths or people start new ones. So your portion can increase or decrease. It's dynamic. But in my opinion right now, unless you have massive, massive amounts of the supply, it's going to be kind of difficult to compete with the big folks who are snatching up those ETH rewards. I think probably a better option for most people is to create shorter length miners. You can go out to 270 days, but we know that when Titan X launched, a lot of people did that. There's actually some Dune analytics out there to show you kind of like on Hex, like when these are coming due. But I think the smart play is to do 30-day increments, because you're getting about a 3 to 4x right now on your Titan X on your return. So if you do a 30 days, 3 or 4x, then you can take that Titan X and then you can create new miners. So you can compound this thing out to get more of that supply. Now, everything's on a curve right now. So for example, forgot what it was exactly, but you were getting 8 million Titan X a day on day one. And I think that's down to, was it about 5 million per day? And we're about 35 days in, 40 days in. So it's a very, very fast distribution at the beginning to get the supply out there and get things going. So a lot of these numbers might not make sense in 6 months or 8 months, but initially the first movers are probably going to do best. Now, it remains to be seen whether or not this is sustainable. And here's one of the issues. The issue is if you put 0.2 ETH in and you create a miner, and then you get, a billion Titan X at the end of your 30 days, and then you sell that Titan X, well, what's happening here? You're putting 0.2 in, you're selling, and then you're just kind of extracting. If you don't continue to participate in this circle, then it's not going to, go up as fast. Now, there's other mechanisms like the buy and burn with tons and tons of ETH in there that could affect this. And we also know this is also under the same market conditions as any other crypto project out there. If this thing starts pumping, it's going to show up on all the websites. It's going to show up on the top 10s, and people are going to start aping in, and they don't know anything about it. So it's still going to be like a regular token in that way. If it's got the spotlight, it's going to pump. But that mechanism is something that will be interesting to see. However, he has built modularity in a way that you're able to create a project that interacts with those smart contracts. So developers can come in and basically create a project that burns Titan X, gives people the ability to do that, which is an additional use case. And there's a lot of hype around that. It's called HyperX. We don't have tremendous amounts of information on it, but Jake and Cryptographics talked about it. So there are unknowns, but I certainly think that if you have something like this in the crypto world, you want to try to get some sort of exposure to it.
Is just holding the coin enough, or is it, is that enough until you finally get to the time to mess around with it?
Well,
learn the protocol.
So let's say, I'll go to the website and let's just crunch these numbers instead of me bullshitting you. So if I go to the calculator, if I create one miner right now, so I put in one miner.
Are you sharing your screen?
I can. Hold on.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, man.
I really appreciate the bottom line, Brandon.
Yeah.
It's really, really nice to get a comprehensive look.
Speaks a lot to your character too, man. With that, having your own project and still being able to speak so positively on another project speaks volumes about you.
Now we got
It's why I'm
surprises
so
with
bullish
Texans.
It's why I'm so bullish on anything that Rags touches, man. He's got the highest level of integrity of anyone I've ever met in crypto.
And these are kind of individuals you want to interact with and follow. And if you see anyone doing some destructive, negative comments on social media, Twitter or whatever, just block them and close them out of your life completely, because they're just wasting your time and anyone else's time as well.
Yeah. I appreciate all the kind words, guys. I don't do well with it, but thank you. So let's do some numbers. Let's just do some hypotheticals. So this is important to show here too. Remember, it all boils down to ETH. So the current amount of ETH that it takes to start one miner is 0.206 ETH. Now that's about $446 based on the price of Ethereum right now. At the end of that, you're going to get 1.491 billion Titan X if this is after 280 days. Let's do 30 days. So 30 days, you're at about 220 million. Okay, so 0.206 ETH got you 200 million, 220 million Titan. Let's figure out if you market bought that amount of ETH or that amount of Titan X. See how much it would get you. And I'm willing to bet that it's much, much better to start a miner. So, okay. So $446. $446 only gets you 32 million Titan X. So it's much, much better.
7x.
Yeah.
7x difference.
Yeah.
And there'll be a lot of inflation though, depending on the time. But you can see this on Dune, right? As far as when to expect.
Yeah.
Essentially like hex stakes coming out.
Yes.
These tokens will be minted.
I'm not paying attention to the dollar value of this at all because we don't know what that's going to be.
Right.
What I'm paying attention to is the amount of inflation that you will receive. I think 30 days is probably pretty safe because that'll give you a little bit of a buffer. So let's say the price of Titan X tanks and this, estimated ROI turns from 5x all the way down to, 0.5x. Fine. Okay, there's a buffer there. I might not go shorter than 30 days. And frankly, I don't know if it's even, let's just check it out. So if you go 15 days, you're at a 2x right now. If you go 10 days, you're at about like 127%. So 1.27x. So, but then you can kind of start quantifying things out and you say, well, if this is the case, and if I can, after 30 days, I can take a 4x ROI, and then I can create maybe 5 to 8 miners. So your $446, you can start compounding pretty quick during this phase where the supply is being distributed. So, yeah. There's a lot more into it. You're going to learn all sorts of things about it, but from a code perspective, it's very, very clean. I've talked to people, I've had developers look at the code. And just to be clear, it's not my developers. It's not Ray and Ryan. But it's squeaky clean. If you can get over the fact that there's an admin key that can set that cap for the buy and burn, even though it can't transfer any value in or out or do anything like that, then you might move forward and you might not. It's up to you.
Yeah. And if I may add to your beautiful explanation and answer Frank's question, was the best play out. I think we all learned from Hex that staking 555 and forever, it's not the right way to go. I'm Adam from Viber Finance was explaining this many times on his streams. So using the knowledge what we learned so far, I think the best play is to use a little bit of keep a little bit for liquid, just in case if the price gets out of control. Take some profit, at least takes back what you put in, and then you can okay, from now on it does whatever it does. Staking ladder is also a profitable option. In this case, it's a mining ladder. So do a few here and there. It's $400 in every 2 months, let's say, or every month. It could be achievable to do. Go not too long, not too 80 days, or just watch out, try to come out before that or whatever. And just combine the things what the platform is able to give you.
I said the same thing with Hex too, man. Like, you got to have a semi-liquid moon bag if it's a 30-day lock or whatever, just in case there is some massive pump, which we did end up seeing in Hex. And I was saying, anywhere from 5 to 20% of your total bag, you should keep semi-liquid. It's going to be different for everybody, but somewhere in that range. So you can take profits and not be pissed off that you're 5555 and your average stake length is 14 years. Cool, that's great for the ecosystem, but it's not always what's best in your for you.
Yeah.
Very well said. Important.
I would say this to people: be very careful on the website. It's a great website. It's a really, really good UI. It's very dependable. But the whole fact that they put like potential ROI in the future with the dollar amount, that gets
Moon
people
math,
really
yeah.
hyped up. So you got to just stay level headed, and try not to pay attention to that. Just try to do the math on your own and say, well, what if Titan X does fall off by 50%? Am I still going to have this amount of ROI? Think about it in terms of the amount of tokens that you're getting. I would also encourage you to go to the white paper and look at the charts and the graphs to understand how quickly these rewards kind of taper off. One interesting feature of this is very similar to the global rank in Zen. So he kind of took that. You will actually get more Titan based on your rank of when you started your miners. So anybody after you is going to contribute to your drip as well. Which is pretty cool. He just took a look at everything, and it seems like he just kind of put it together in a cohesive way. So we'll see. Interesting to see, and be careful.
He strikes me as a guy, Jake, who thinks of everything. He kind of reminds me of the movie Despicable Me, and someone's gonna shrink the moon. He's got a better gun to shrink the moon. It's just like, I haven't seen the movie in a while, but is it Steve Carell?
Banana.
Yeah, anyway, I can't really describe it, but I feel like he's got a solution for everything. Oh yeah. My moon shrinker, has another moon shrinker inside of it, and I'm going to shrink your moon.
To be very straightforward, I still probably don't like Jake. And that's because
keeping it a buck.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
And
you caught me off guard.
Yeah, he and admittedly I don't know him that well, but he rubbed me the wrong way with the marketing ploy to get people in his thing. There was just like a respect factor, and I felt like personally it was kind of breached a little bit. So I don't really look up to Jake as in that way, but at the same time, I'm willing to talk to the guy and get to know him, because that's really my only interaction I had when he was just basically DMing everybody to get them into their group for a tremendous amount of money. But I'm also able to separate what the code looks like from my experience with him and just be truthful and honest about it. And if Jake's listening to this, it's nothing. I don't think it's something he doesn't know, because I actually DM'd him the same thing. And I'm willing to change my view if we chat and I feel like I can. So just letting people know.
That'd be a good show. That'd be a good episode right there.
Mhm.
I think that's the same thing a lot of people had beef with Richard with, especially during the flex stage of Hex. They just didn't like the appearance of it. Richard said it was very strategic. He knew exactly why he was doing it, but still it rubbed people the wrong way.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, I can understand that.
Yeah.
But people change at that time. I know I'm a nobody, you know, but I still send a message to Richard. I'm not sure if you read it or not, but the point I was trying to make to him was like, if you go for this outrageous marketing, you're narrowing down yourself to a one group of people, you know, just a certain people who are interested in bling bling and flashy things. But there are so many different type of individuals or group of people out there who interested in nature, interested in animals, or, you know, property or whatever, you know. So then you could have reached out to more people by not just narrowing down yourself to flashy and outrageous marketing.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting pieces to Titan X. Obviously, it's kind of like when we staked our hex. If the hex goes up and your stake comes out, then you take some profits. If the hex price goes down and your stake comes out, well, I mean, on Ethereum, you don't even end your stake anymore because of the fees, right? You got a $5 stake for a $50 fee. You just let it bleed because thanks, Ethereum. Anyways, but with Titan X, you kind of have to play 3 games at a time, it seems. Because I aped in at a high price and I staked it, hoping for those sweet ETH rewards. And then everyone staked and competed against me, like Brandon was saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this ETH reward I was expecting was much, much smaller when it arrived. And I have been able to claim a bunch of money back from my ETH rewards. But then I realized that the guys that were dumping on me were the miners, right? So I went and put some miners out there, some max length ones, some medium ones, and some short ones. And that way, when the miners come out, if the price is up, then you can sell back to ETH and get more miners, basically roll and compound your miners. If the price is down, you can stake it and get some more of the Ethereum fees while you're waiting for the sacrifice for Hyper to come out, right? And like a lot of people, I think I was listening to Crypto Compassion. It was either Crypto Compassion or Crypto Kindness that was doing an AMA about this morning. And he was saying that he's up. There's a few days you can see on the calendar when there's big miners that are going to have a ton of liquid Titan X. And he, like we're both hoping that that's the time that Jake comes out and lets people sacrifice the Titan X token and the staked tokens for Hyper, and that might
by
hopefully
all indications
suck a lot of it off.
That's what's going to happen. Yeah,
I hope so. I mean, that's my hopium and expectation of the work of others coming through. But yeah, there's 3 games. There's the liquid game, there's the staking game, there's the miner game, and then there's also the buy and burn where you can buy and burn a bunch of it and you get a piece of the bonus. And then you've got the developers where he's saying if you build on top of this and help us burn Titan X faster, then you're going to get a bunch of these bonuses too, right?
Yeah, I'm certainly not a fan of Jack Levin whatsoever. However, it's just all part of the evolution of human learning. You just kind of see what works, you see what doesn't, you kick the stuff that doesn't, you add the stuff that does, if you can make a nice symphony with it. That's where we're going to see if it's a nice symphony or not. We'll see. Be very careful, though. Careful.
The definition of competition is to seek together. So we're all seeking this together in a friendly way, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Let's go back to some of the comments. We had a bunch of stuff that was going on with liquid loans. I had one other question that was pretty interesting. That said something like, if liquid loans comes out with the angry looking US stamp on it, would we still continue using liquid loans like PH? I guess PH got locked out from US citizens. Here we go. We get this. Paul Sachs says, will you guys continue using liquid loans if they have to put a disclaimer on the site against US citizens like PH did?
I would, as long as As long as it's, I mean, that's basically just saving their butt if they do get sued. That's all that is by the SEC. So it wouldn't matter to me personally.
Cool.
I generally say screw the government regardless, so they can come get mine if they want.
We had a question from Bobby Hetzelrod. What's Bank X's position to date? Do we consider them long-term holders, or do we believe they're just waiting for a pump and dump?
I think actions speak louder than words with them, and their actions have not lived up to the philosophy I think that Pulse Chain embodies. Personally, I think extortion first and foremost comes to mind. So yeah, I'm not too keen on those folks at all personally. But yeah, I'm not quite sure what anybody know how much hex they have in the Ethereum wallet. I knew they were creating some stakes too.
500 million or something like that. But
700 million.
Randy was explaining it pretty well, that people overreacting this BankX situation, and that guy like Furu Finance, he was just keep going on and on and on about like this situation that EHEX is dead and we shouldn't touch EHEX and stuff. And I'm like, mate, what you trying to achieve? You became a YouTuber because of Hex, and now you're just like shitting on it. So it's not going to affect us that much, because Randy was saying that before was similar size of positions being dumped on the market, and we stood up from it. So it's 4 years, guys, running. So I'm sure the time's going to come when we should shine again.
Oh yeah. I have no doubt. I think that supply gets gobbled up if it gets dumped. But in terms of BankX, I'm personally shying away from that.
I think this is referring to Titan-X right here. Compound the miners is what really blows minds. Look at the compounding miner every month. Money. I think that's
it's not going to last. Yeah, it's not going to last forever. So get it while you can.
Bobby says, I've heard some smart people say really good things about Titan-X, and despite my previous thoughts about Jack, never met him, I think I'm going to participate. Still unsure about how to game it. Yeah, well, and part of it is like, what if Titan-X actually pulls off what it's trying to pull off, right? Then you definitely want some exposure to it. Obviously, you don't want to like nuke your other bags or ape into it like I did, but you do want to like have some exposure to it, just because the way that this market works, you just need a couple of wins to take some profit and keep going into the stuff that's already proven itself, like Hex and Texan and the other ones that are still like, they've already shown that they're going to be here for the next 50 years, whether people like it or not. So you might as well try and gain as much economic energy as you can from these other tokens. And after we get over, let me see, I'm going to look if there's any more liquid loans talk here or Titan-X. Paul Sex says Titan-X proving that buy and burn becomes more valuable on chain with high gas fees. Let me read that again. Is Titan-X proving buy and burn becomes more valuable on chain with high gas fees? I don't know.
Yeah, so does it become more valuable on chain if the gas fees are high? I would certainly say that would be a yes, because as gas fees kind of increase with Titan-X, there's actually ways for you to offset those gas fees forever. One of those ways is to have a portion of that staking pool that pays for your gas forever, potentially. And then the other thing is, as the price of Ethereum goes up, that buy and burn can get pretty significant. And also the buy and burn on the LP pools as well, it can get pretty significant. So as gas goes up, that sucks, but the impact that it's going to have on liquidity is going to be greater than the gas fees going up. So people potentially would participate because price goes up too in that instance.
Mixed Lyman says, who cares about how Hedera stores your seed if they have access to all the information to that could identify you and retrieve your entire seed phrase? ? HBAR is massively centralized. What do you think about that, Adam?
I would look into DREC and do some research before you say some dumb shit.
Okay. Assuming that buyers are off the open market, not freshly minted coins. Oh, that's Paul Sachs, I think, referring to the miners, right? Bobby says, I've never heard Brandon give his brand of approval on an outside project, ... I don't know if I would say it's his approval. I would say this is his take and some of the stuff he's researched about it. You know, that's how I would put that. Obviously, nothing we say here is financial advice. We're just some obsessive crypto dudes on the internet that love to get together and dive down these rabbit holes and try our best to answer people's questions in the meantime.
Yeah, this is Bobby. This is probably the closest that you would ever get to a brand of approval, the closest. And I don't do it, but I'm still giving the caveat that I could be completely wrong because there's just so much shit out there that you don't know what's going to happen. Who knows what's going to happen here? So be careful.
We got Sandy Beach in the house. It's good to see you. She's happy to see all of us. Academaciated says, all good and well, but Bitcoin didn't obtain its value by dividing up one's economic energy. Stick with a real founder, but what do I know? So Academaciated is giving a vote of confidence to the RH ecosystem, it sounds like. Mixed Lemon says, wow, apparently I'm a contrarian today. We need Pulse and PulseX on Coinbase if we expect mass adoption. Yes and no. I think I don't know. I'm definitely not a fan of Coinbase based on some of the stuff they've done in the last year to me personally. But I would say that eventually we would like Pulse and PulseX to become so popular that the big boys can't ignore it, where they look foolish for not listing it. That's kind of where I think would be the positive way of getting it on the central exchanges. Yeah, I don't like them and I don't trust them. I would prefer Coast all day. But yeah, there are a lot of people that are just going to buy stuff off their phone, off Robinhood, off of Venmo, whatever's easiest, whatever the fewest clicks with their thumb is, right? Mm-hmm. So there's that. Sorry, Crypto Kool-Aid was calling me. he's probably got.
He should join us. He's a giga brain.
He said he's not allowed to go on stream because he shares too much. So we got Finbear in the house. What's up? Hex Monkey says Texan is also a steal at these levels. You got any updates on Texan? How's Texan rolling? And what are you guys working on right now as a community, Brandon?
Yeah, Texan's good, man. We went down to the Texit conference, which is awesome. We had just rooms filled with people talking about this. We've got the video footage to back it up too. Okay. And people were very, very excited about this Texan token that they had that they didn't know anything about. So it just gave us an opportunity to teach people about it. We were able to add the Pulse Chain network to a lot of these Metamask wallets and show people that they actually got doubles that had participated initially. Very, very interesting with the TNM. They got 102,000 signatures, and it's going to guarantee that they're going to have the question put on the ballot in March, which is, would you like to see Texas assert itself once again as an independent nation? I think that's pretty cool too. And it's cool because the media and everybody else aren't going to be able to kind of look past that because it's up in everybody's face. All the Texans are going to be voting on it. That's huge. Apart from that, from the crypto side, our developers, there's V3 forks, but what our developers did was basically strip this down to the bare bones, and they built it back kind of like an engine, a truck engine. They built it back to understand it, took out the fluff, the stuff that isn't needed, and then we're creating modularity, and that we'll be able to do some really, really cool things with this. And December is going to be a really, really big month for that. And there's some other cool announcements with some other communities in the UK and some other really big things. Here's what we want. We want Texan. We want Freedom Swap. We want all of our communities that we're seeding out there to come together as this one organism. And we're going to make sure that they all tie together, they all work together. So I like the fact that Texan is kind of in the background right now. Not many people are paying attention to it because eventually they will be forced to pay attention to what we have going on.
Awesome. I was about to ask about some of the other stuff you got going on, but it sounds like you've said about as much as you can.
Yep.
You got a shout out from AJ Rip City Hex, a true
What's
leader
up,
you are,
dude?
Rags.
What's
And
up,
then
man?
Swizzle Stick says next episode, Rags versus Jake cage match.
I'd be down. I'd be down.
Oh my gosh. All right, I'm looking for some more questions here. I want to go on to Up and UpX if we've covered all the liquid loans and Titan X stuff. I'm actually loving this protocol and what's to come. I think he's referring to Texan right there.
I think he was referring to Titan X prior, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kindness is a big Titan X advocate. Let's see here. Punted with Jake, hoping he's genuinely one of the best for everyone and growing to become better, which I believe he's trying to do. I'm giving him a chance to prove himself. Yeah, I think a lot of people were. Big Slime says loan will dump when people realize the ROI is trash compared to other products. They will swap out. Time to hold and stake loan will be at the top of the bowl when the bear comes back. You know, that's kind of an interesting take because I've heard Jesse talk about that before. You know, you go to the top of the market, you take your loan out in stable coins, and then it crashes and you get liquidated. Well, you would have sold pretty close to the top of the market if you continued loaning against your collateral.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we could have taken our 50-cent hex and I got liquidated at 45 cents,
Yep.
I'd be happy as a pig in shit right now.
Happy days, yeah.
Yeah, you'd be sitting
Sometimes
on a mountain of money and going back and buying 1 penny hex, right?
Yep.
So, like, if you look at it that way, being liquidated isn't, you know, it might actually work out in your favor with how volatile this market is. Hi everyone, it's been great stream. Thanks, AJ. Daniel Polk's in the house. Lucky I watch it.
What's up, Daniel?
Hey Daniel. Archie S.
Hey,
was
Daniel.
slamming. The ROI is pretty good considering the price and low amount I sacked. So happy to see leave my loan in there and add it. I was kind of looking at that last night with liquid loans. I looked at my pile of Pulse tokens and I looked at how much I could loan against it and keep good collateral. And then I thought if I took those USDLs and I just staked them for, I think it's 4% a year, you could just sit there and pay back your loan with your dividends that you got from staking the stable coin, right? So basically you'd be paying off a loan for free. As long as the value of Pulse didn't drop dramatically in that time, you could just sit there and pay off your loan with passive income from staking it in the pools or the stability pool. The stability pool, let's see, they have the stability pool and then they have the staking pool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or is that one is with the stable coin and one is with the loan token, right?
Well, you can pull up the if you go to the website, just
We're
pull it
on
up.
the internet. I don't know why
Yeah.
I'm guessing about this.
I got the diagram.
Leaving it to our imagination.
I know.
Hexray. I have got to go, man. I'm about
Okay.
2 hours in. I got to bounce, but I really appreciate you having me on here, buddy.
Thanks for coming back. It's been great having you back on Tech Talk. This was so much fun during 21, 22. I'm glad to bring it back, and we've got some really good guests coming. And so you're always welcome, Rags. I'm going to pay for the upgrade so we can get more than 6 people on screen. But yeah, please come back any Sunday you can make it. And thanks again for coming and hanging out.
You guys take it easy.
Good to see you, Rags.
Jump in the mastermind too, Brandon.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yep.
All right, buddy.
Thank
I'm
you,
probably
Rex.
gonna
All the
jump
best.
off too. We're getting close to dinner time here, and I just
Yeah.
got a text from my wife, so I'm gonna go cook some dinner.
Well, thanks again. Thanks to you for showing up, Freddie. It's always great to
Thank
have
you
you
for
on here
having
too. And anytime you want to come, doors open on Tech Talk.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. Yeah, I'm
Take
gonna
care,
be sending
Freddie.
out a bunch of info into the into that group chat that we just got you added into as well. So keep an eye out on that for a big dump that I'm going to be putting in this week on some info. So
Yeah.
thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate you having me, brother.
If you want to stream about that, or if you got anything else that is dropping, the last rap that you dropped was really good. I really like that one.
Oh yeah. So just to kind of give people some information who are watching, I'm going through the process of correcting my status from an American or a United States corporation citizen to a state citizen. I'm not renouncing my citizenship. I'm just simply correcting the status. Most people don't know that when you're born with dual citizenship. You have a citizenship of the state that you're born in and a citizenship of the United States corporation. So you have the ability to opt out of one and just have the other. I don't want to take up too much time here on your stream, but just real quick.
We'll do a stream on just this.
There's a lot of benefits of it. Yeah. It's pretty cool too. So there's a bunch of Hexkins who have already been living this way long before Hex came around, 20, 30 years. And it's pretty cool. So we're getting guidance from them, and we'll definitely get into that. But appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah. Have a great week, man. And thanks
You
again
too,
for
brother.
coming.
Have a good one, man. Take it easy, guys. Good to see you guys.
Take care, buddy. All the best.
Rock and roll.
Yeah, if you're not following Freddie and Rags on YouTube and Twitter, definitely follow them there. They're definitely some great Hexkins and great community members. Let's see here. McSlammin, no doubt, but I'm using both. Hex is my number one. So yeah, you can definitely play one of these systems against another, right? Take one of your yield in one system, whether it's Hex, Liquid Loans, or Titan X, and then feed it into whatever ecosystem is down. Just arbitrage systems against systems. That's could be kind of like a part-time job and a lot of work, but
not anymore. Tetra is coming out, so that's going to be a massive help.
Tetra is something that I really want to talk about. Another thing here, Swizzle Sticks is talking about 9mm Pro V3 liquidity deployed a couple days ago. Yeah, so for the first time, I maybe I was wrong, but I couldn't find anywhere to do single-sided staking on Pulse Chain until 9mm .pro dropped V3. So if you have a bag, like a giant bag of one coin, and you're wanting to switch it to another coin, one of the best ways to do that without pushing the price against yourself and killing yourself with liquidity is to provide single-sided liquidity to one of those pairs. So that's something that people have been doing on Ethereum since V3 came out on Uniswap. But as far as I knew, I couldn't find it until I used 9mm. We got Casey the Hexkin. Welcome back, Hexray and friends. Thanks, Casey. He's a great dude. Mr. Quotes, I insulted the ginger at the start, but I've been listening and painting. Awesome stream, gents. Thanks, Daily. Thank you very much. You got Defiant DeFi is here. Yo. Daniel says, if you didn't use testnet for experience with liquid loans, you really need to rethink. Yeah, I didn't use the testnet at all on liquid loans. So I'm just now kind of like figuring out how the haunted works in reality or in practice, and how some of the other strategies do with liquid loans. Ditto, great stream. Got to go. My daughter's figure skates sharpened. Good job, Bobby Hexler. Good dad. Awesome. And then he had a question for Freddie. Freddie's gone. We'll have Freddie back on. Another question for Freddie. Freddie's gone. And then I'm a native Texan. Didn't know I could secede the nation. Yeah. So while you're waiting for Texit to take place, apparently there's a way for you to secede the federal government anyways. So that's pretty interesting. And then Swizzle Stick says the VC calculator is pretty sweet as well. Do you guys want to cover any of those projects or topics before we go on to Up and UpX?
Can I just put a plug in for something, Hexray?
Yes, definitely.
For all the listeners, it's funny. This today is a version, in a way, of a mastermind, right? All of us being on the call. And so I encourage everybody out there right now who has to create your own mastermind or get in paid masterminds, because there's a lot of them out there, but just create a mastermind for yourself. And a mastermind starts with two people. So get someone that's passionate about crypto, ask them to set up a structure to talk every week. And then the next thing you know, you're not alone in crypto, because a lot of people are alone in crypto. That's why we watch you guys. That's why we watch Hexray. That's why we watch Adam. That's why we watch all the major wonderful people in this community that stream about all the RH products, etc. So just create your own mastermind, and you exponentially talk about tech. You exponentially, hopefully right now you're going to exponentially increase your bags.
Yeah, that's a great point. Is it can start with 2 people and it can grow to some insane amount. And some of the masterminds are actually fairly cheap, I think, to get in. And if they're a ton of money, then you might want to check and see what kind of advice you're getting, because you could take that same money and probably just invest it in crypto and start figuring out yourself if the barriers to entry are too expensive. Freddie's here. He answered the questions in chat. So Freddie says you can get a new U.S. passport, essentially a diplomatic passport. It says the costs are cheap. It's under $1,000 for a family of 3 to do this process. Russ says, I'm all alone in crypto. Love you guys. Love you too, Russ. All right. So like I said, I really wanted to jump into Up and UpX because that one really caught my eye. I had no idea that it had launched a year ago on Ethereum, because they wanted to get going so bad, and they were waiting for Pulse like the rest of us. They were waiting for liquid loans like the rest of us, and so they launched on Ethereum. And then when the fork happened and you got your copy of the Up token and the UpX token, they just removed all the liquidity from Ethereum basically to migrate. That was like their way of migrating onto Pulse chain. And so basically the main idea of Up and UpX was that they had 21 million Up tokens in the beginning, and Haunted was so excited about his strategy for liquid loans, but to run the Haunted strategy, it requires about $20,000 of Pulse, right? Because you want to keep 1,000% collateralized, and then you want to use 10% of that, which would be $2,000. So the minimum amount to take a loan on liquid loans is $2,000, and so you need to 10x that. So you're looking at $20,000 to run the liquid loans, you're looking at $20,000 of Pulse to run the Haunted strategy, right? And so a lot of people don't have $20,000, and so it's kind of like the idea of the Maximus DAO contract, right? We're not all whales, so we can't max out the longer pays better, bigger pays better bonus. But with Maximus DAO, they took a whole bunch of people and just made one monster stake. And so with liquid loans, if you don't want to run the Haunted strategy yourself, or you can't afford to, you can buy the UpX token, and I'll explain the difference in a little bit. But you buy the Up token, and basically they're going to run the Haunted strategy with the money that they raised, and with the yield, they're going to buy and burn their own token. So they burned quite a few tokens just before it's going, but in the next few days, they're going to start implementing the Haunted strategy with what they call the benevolent wallet. And they're going to run that, and all the yield that they're making off their Haunted strategy is going to go to buy and burn their token, the Up token. And then the UpX token has a much bigger supply, but basically they ran a second one that's going to do 80% liquid loans Haunted strategy and 20% with the Earn protocol from Power City when it comes out. So it's got a much bigger supply, but it's got a much bigger benevolent wallet. Its benevolent wallet's like 3 times bigger. Its supply is about 20 times bigger than Up, but it's the same strategy, the same ideas and fundamentals of the tokenomics as Up. It's just including Earn token and has its own benevolent wallet address. So that's kind of the Up and the UpX token in a nutshell. Have you guys looked into them, or do you guys have any questions about that?
I do. I wish I would have had your explanation right now in a nutshell several weeks ago or several months ago when it was on my radar. I would have done something at that point with it. And also, when I first saw it, I thought it was a joke meme coin because there was up and down. And it was just so confusing. And if you weren't there from the inception, it was really hard to discern which was which. Is it a real token? What is it? So, but now we know it's a big deal.
Yeah, well, and like I said, it might not work. Like, we don't know for sure if the haunted strategy is going to work. We don't know for sure if it's going to withstand 95% drawdowns in the price of Pulse, right? Or wherever the volatility in the market goes. And that's kind of why I really liked the Hod Pearl strategy, which is really close to what I was explaining before, where you go get a loan, you take the dollar coins and you stake the stable coins, and then you just pay off your loan with the interest that you're making off of that. And then if you're liquidated, well, you've still already got your stable coins. So yeah, it's like a lot of things. We're waiting to see if Jake Sharp is going to pull off his scarcity and pumpamentals, if they're going to work the way that he hopes they will, and that the holders of Titan X hope they will. And we're also, waiting to see if the up token and as much of that can be ran as decentralized and immutable as possible, right? Because you don't want to wait for someone to do something. That was one of the things about Titan X, is like, if Jake Sharp is the only person with keys to that wallet, that's no bueno, right? Like, we don't want to hope that he doesn't like choke on a French fry tomorrow at lunch. We're hoping that he's at least got a multi-sig wallet with some people that he trusts and a team that's going to continue on. So like, anytime you have someone that you're hoping does something, it's not ideal in crypto, right? We're all trying to make things as robust and decentralized and automatic as possible. So that's another reason that I'm really excited for Tetra to come out with some of their platforms and ways, because then you can put a lot of stuff on automatic. Another person that I've been talking to that I'm trying to get on the stream is Barista. And Barista is a front end for liquid loans that's going to automate some of those strategies as well. So like, if you get paid a bonus for someone getting liquidated, you get a 10% bonus in Pulse, right? But if the price dumps 10%, then you've lost your bonus. So basically, they take that bonus and sell it right away automatically and put it right back into your vault, so that those bonuses, when people get liquidated, are more automated. That's just one of the things. There's a lot more going on with Barista, I think, than just that. But I will be trying to get those guys on either a panel of Tech Talk or, a stream. So
you could talk to Corey Geary too about Tetra.
Is he deep in the weeds with that?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Corey.
And also, one thing, if I could add, Corey is a great guy. I love him so much. But one thing I could add to this liquidation and these strategies, that probably, in my opinion, the hunter strategy is a little bit over safe or way too safe, because you can just simply top up your loan. So, and you're not going to have, like, if we experience a 95% dip in, let's say, a matter of 2 days, then we have much bigger things to worry about than how liquid loans going to perform, or, and stuff like that. It's not, it doesn't happen that often. So if you see that, you're close to that liquidation, then, just top up your loan. And as you were saying, the 10x, it's not that many people having one token in their bag which worth 20 grand, because if you have like at least 10 tokens, then we talk about 5-6 figures. So, and not that many people in crypto, who I know at least, has that kind of cashy in their crypto wallet. So.
Yeah. So is there anything else you guys want to talk about with UpX or Titan X or Texan or Liquid Loans or Pulse or Hex? Anything on your minds right now? Let's keep going.
Up is really well thought out project, and it has a strong bond with Liquid Loans, and Hunted is a really smart guy, so I'm sure if it will perform really well. It's just so many good. Like I said before with Jake, I'm sure Hunted is a smart guy, so he thought about many things. So what are the most important things in crypto? Have some sort of scarcity, have some sort of function. Otherwise, it's gonna be like a forever dump token, which up is completely the opposite. So it has huge potentials, in my opinion.
Yeah. I got a position in Up and UpX token, both at the top. That's where I like to buy. I like to buy really like that green wick that goes straight up. That's me. If you guys are looking at any of the charts, that's where I am, right before the big red candles of it going back down. So that's my entry position on most coins, unfortunately. But there are fairly long-term holds, hopefully. So over time, it helps. I mean, I bought a ton of hex on day one at like a half a penny, right? And the adoption amplifier day one was like 0.003 or 0.005, depending on when you got in there or your bonus. And so that was and that one took me months and months just to get back up to half a penny, right? So
it's amazing. It's amazing how much leverage you have at the bottom when you buy something at the bottom, right? And then it doubles. Well, if you intended 100x, now you got to put twice as much in. Like the number, it's staggering. It's staggering the lower to the bottom that you get into a coin. Its bottom. It's the amount. It's incredible how much gains you can have versus even buying it after a 10x. I had something recently that 10x'd, and I'm taking out 10%, basically, and because even if it 10x's again, the value of that 10x is only going to be so much anyway. So it's like, I talked with a friend of mine that basically instead of a 100x token that you bought, you're looking at a 90x. So I thought that was an interesting way to look at it. So, I mean, you got to get in somewhere, right? If you're going to, and there's a lot of people that even if they buy too high, still keep dollar cost averaging on winners as they go up. So all kinds of good strategies for people, even if yours is buying green candles and
and then
you're going to be doing that
6 months to a year. Yeah.
When market caps are tiny, it's going to feel that way. Like with these last poly trade, I've been shilling like crazy. It's up 7x since I started talking about it. And market cap's at like $25 million right now. And I've been getting messages for the last week. Gosh, should I wait for the dip? Should I wait for the dip? No. The market cap's $20 million. It's going to feel like this for the next month. Every person buying it is going to feel like they bought the top until it starts to actually level out. And it's never easy. You feel like, my coin's never going to go up. It sucks. I'm missing out. And then you go to the other side, you find something that's pumping and you feel like, oh, do I sell now? Is this the top? What do I do? It's never easy. That's why you just got to have a plan and stick to it no matter what happens.
And that one was called PolyX?
Polytrade.
Polytrade. And that's a trading platform?
No, tokenization of assets. I think that's going to be the narrative this cycle, that and gaming.
Oh, that brings up a good one. We wanted to cover fetch protocol real quick for everyone that didn't quite understand how oracles work. And the problem that we've had with oracles up to this point in crypto is like, hey, we want to tokenize an asset, whether it's an apartment building or a luxury brand or luxury item. And how do you know that the person that's putting that information on the blockchain is putting the correct information, right? And so this might be a kind of simplifying fetch, but basically it's kind of like the miners in Bitcoin back in the day, right? You made more money being honest than you did trying to cheat the system. So if you're putting information on the blockchain or you're providing price information or any other information, then you've got some skin in the game, and it's going to cost you a lot of money. And it's going to be a lot of people are rewarded for checking your information and calling you out. So if you call someone out for negative or incorrect information, you get rewarded. And if you provide incorrect information, you get penalized. And so it's kind of like a Byzantine generals problem, right? Like, how do you guarantee that one person is going to mess it up for everyone else? They're just going to mess themselves up. And so that fetch, from what I understand so far, basically takes that approach, which is like there's all these nodes and all these people participating in the system, making sure that the information's correct, and they get rewarded for doing that. And that's my understanding. I could be completely off, but that was the way I understood fetch worked, and that's the best sounding oracle I've heard of so far in the system. What do you guys think about that?
I'm with you 100%. And I was, heard for a while that once it launches, it's really going to help up and up X. And I don't know if that's why they're pumping now. They're doing well, but it's something that was needed for this ecosystem. And now that it's here, it's like we don't really have that many excuses left. Liquid Loans is now launched. All the projects have launched. It's like go time now. So we need to start coming together as a community. Stop bickering, fighting, all the dumb shit that's going. It's got to stop. And there's so much going on across all of crypto. People just expect people are going to come in to Hex and Pulse Chain, but they don't take into account, look what happened to Ripple last cycle with XRP. Once they got into that lawsuit, they got taken off exchanges. That coin got crippled, and you could blame it on the inflation. You could blame it on whatever you want, but that was, I would say, the root cause was them being sued. And Richard being sued right now, no one knows what's going to happen with it. It could end in a month. This thing could drag out for 3 years. So just, be careful out there, diversify, and if you're holding a bag that you bought, just keep it. Don't dump it for something stupid. Don't dump it just because. I see so many people make that mistake. They sold it because they saw something else pumping, or it's something that didn't feel right, or there was that whatever excuse. Don't be that person. It's the biggest mistake I see people making.
Cool. Let's see. So there's Fetch Oracle. There's quite a few other ones. Tell us a update. Actually, if you could try to describe the gray token, the gray coin, TGC, correct? Mm-hmm. Can you explain that to us like we're 5? Like how the tokenomics work with that one?
So there were 333 billion coins that were created, and it's a tax token where 1% goes back and PTGC gets bought and burnt and then given back to holders. And then if you stake, you get extra rewards, and then you can lock your tokens up. So there's multiple ways to earn yield off of it. But I think the coolest thing is the DAO. It's the first DAO that I know of on Pulse Chain. And if you're in the top 100 stakers, you can put up a proposal for however much Pulse Chain is in the treasury. And that Pulse Chain, it can get up to 20, 30 million. And sometimes it's used to buy back PTGC. Sometimes people are putting votes up to create new liquidity pairs. I mean, you could do pretty much whatever you want as a staker for proposals, which is really cool. It gives it a unique community aspect to it in a sense. And it really it ran up hard. It got shilled on Shill Tank, and you know what happens when things go parabolic. They come back down, they cool off, people kind of lose that interest, but it's bottomed out, I think. And with the buy and burn, I think 20 billion coins have already been taken off the market. And the amount staked, I think there's about 95 billion that are actually circulating. So with all the liquidity pools that are out there, the ARB bots are going between them and just having feasts over there. We're seeing some of these pairs with $500-600 in volume, and it's not a single human that's involved. It's just all the bots. So with that, the combination of that, it's really helped to keep the price stable. And it really, at this point, doesn't require anything but people to just hold. And I think people are starting to see that. And it's just a really cool, unique little project that's kind of taken attention away from the negative stuff and brought some people together. And from there, some new project have started and spawned off. And that's what I think Pulse Chain is about, is stuff being built and then from there growing, from there learning what was good, learning what was bad, and then just evolving and coming together and moving forward. And I really hope that as a community we can do that.
Is there a treasury for the DAO, or is that one of the taxes?
It's one of the taxes. Yep. I think 0.5% or 1% goes to the DAO every purchase.
Oh, okay, cool. And do you know when they're going to start doing their proposals?
You can do them whenever you want. So if you're a top 100 staker, you can go right now and literally submit a proposal, and then it's a 7-day proposal, and then it gets voted on by all the other stakers. So it's cool. I really like it.
Cool. So that's the gray token, right? Or the gray, it's
the gray's currency.
The gray's currency, right? The gray's currency. Yeah,
correct.
So that's really cool.
PTGC.
Awesome.
So many things to follow.
so many. Well, and there's only so many letters to go around. So like if you look up TGC, you could get a completely different token on Dex Screener or on someone else's page. So sometimes it's hard to track down. You hear about a project and you're trying to find it, and you find like 6 other projects that are like similar or have similar sounding names. So it's good to know.
Adam, that polytrade you mentioned earlier is in which chain on?
Polygon.
Okay.
It's 10.
Yeah, I'm not using that
in a couple of weeks.
Hey, Ryan. It's good to see you, Ryan. Sorry, I was just going to shout out to Ryan. Go ahead.
10x in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Man, it's like from October 25th till now, it is definitely done pretty close to a 10x.
Yeah, Relio has done like 6x. That's another tokenization asset coin. RIO, it's on Stellar. I like that. I like Defactor. I like Clearpool's going crazy. That's another one. C-Pool. I really do think that that's going to be one of the biggest narratives alongside gaming.
Those are all tokenization of assets?
Yeah, Polymath is another great one.
Awesome. Check here.
Gentlemen, I have to jump off. Unfortunately, it's 10:30 and I'm still a slave tomorrow morning. I have to answer the big guy too. Yes, boss, of course, boss. I'm doing it, boss, right away, boss. So
we'll see
I need
you
to get some sleep, but
the mastermind group and be chatting.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, last time I missed it. Unfortunately, I explained it to Frank that because of the time difference, for me is you start doing it 11 o'clock in the evening, and I was like trying to make sure everything is okay. So I'm logging in at 10 o'clock, 10:30. I keep forget about these time differences. And the next picture, I'm holding the phone. The headphone is on my head. The light is on, and it's 3 a.m. So I completely missed the whole thing last time. The next time I need to be a bit more prepared. But yeah, nice to having me.
People to know, or you want people to just follow you on Twitter under at
if anyone would like to follow me on Twitter, it's my full name with a double O as a secret agent. But yeah, it's nice to be here. And as Frank was saying, that the more you reach out, nobody should be shy. Just try to be productive and share the information what you learned. Comment positively. Comment on streamers, support them, watch their stream, put it on 1.5x, like I said, I watch Adam every single morning when I go to work. It's perfectly fits in my schedule, as I drive, I just listen what he's got to say, and I learned so much from him. And also, if you connect with these like-minded individuals, somehow your brain absorb the information better. You learn something else much easier, and then it's just like expanding. It's amazing. So I'm really grateful for you guys, and thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Hey, thanks for joining the panel, man. We'll see you around.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Sweet dreams.
I'll see you.
Okay, thank you. Take care, guys. Take care.
Bye. We got Daniel Polk here. Says, for Christmas, I need to mention Ophir here, just a charity for the Philippines connected with 22-year staking. So that one's the project that has very, very similar tokenomics to Texan, and it was created for the churches in the Philippines to to have a foundation or not a foundation. What am I trying to say?
Endowment.
Endowment. That's the word I'm looking for. An endowment for them. Yeah. And then Daniel, he also says DCA is key in most buys. No matter which winner you take, you just need a winner. And Robbie says, I resemble that Parks. Just get a little bit of Phantom, he says. And of course, Ryan dropped in. Oh man, Hex has no Dow. It's hard to keep up with what Vibra is telling us. Yeah, so every time you say a token, I just want you to tell me what kind of a token it is. And it's like 3-minute pitch of just like, it's used for this, it does this, it's on this chain. You know, because I can't keep them all straight in my head when I'm listening to you. I'm like, he just mentioned 6 tokens. There's no way I'm going to remember those.
Yeah, there's so much going on, bro. It really is. Like, I tell people, like, if you took the time and read some of these articles, watched some of these interviews, and looked at some of these partnerships, you would be just as excited as I am. You'd start seeing all the dots starting to connect behind the scenes. And when you understand this world is all about who you know, it's all about relationships, it all just starts to come together. And just blessed to have the time to put in, to do the work, to do the research. And, you know, it's really, it feels good hearing like Norbert there just saying he learns so much. Like, that's why I do it. Just guys like him that work a full-time job, they don't have the ability or the time to just put the hours in, and I do. And yeah, it feels good that at least someone's listening and getting something out of it.
Heck yeah. Now you guys work with you guys accept clients and you guys are helping onboard, and in some cases, do you help manage some of their crypto portfolios, or do you make them do all the work themselves with their keys and their coins?
Yeah, I mean that's where that you're breaking the law, is holding stuff for. I mean, everybody just wants to give me money and just say do what you want with it, but I can't. So we got a great system where we can get people onboarded, you know, properly with a ledger, everything within like 2 weeks, you know, with a booklet that Lindsay's put together. So we've really gotten that process down. And I think each person you work with is kind of like trial and error, and you just get better at onboarding. You get more relatable with people, and, you know, yeah, it's an exciting time we're in, man. I see the writing on the wall when that ETF gets approved, the real hype, the media starts telling us that crypto is good again. It's not this horrible thing used by criminals and Hamas and all the nonsense you see on the media. And I think it's going to be politicized, this election. And yeah, if you're here now, when people tell you you're lucky in a year or two, just ignore it.
Yeah, I think we've all heard that before, how lucky we are. And I've had a lot of people, friends, neighbors, relatives, coworkers be like, I'm just going to give you $5,000. I'm just going to give you $2,000 and you do everything. And I'm like, no, I don't want a job. I don't want to do that. You know, like you got to do it yourself right now. You don't want to be responsible for other people's money. And you're spending all your time trying to control and worry about your bags. Right. You don't want to be like, oh, now I got to go and log into here. Now I got to go move this over here. So that's why I did YouTube, was like, I just wanted to like try and say the same thing once instead of 1,000 different times. Right. So
yeah, exactly. That's the hard thing, is you feel like you're repeating yourself to everybody. It's like, if I could just clone myself and just somehow record this and then just give it to you, and I could be 8 places at once. And that's what I think everybody is working towards that, or trying to figure out that magical way to just snap your fingers and onboard someone. Yeah,
for sure. Well, Frank, do you got anything to add here? We'll wrap up. We're at 2.5 hours, which is fine with me. I'm going to go back and try and clip some of this stuff and make it more bite size for some of the people, because we covered some really good subjects, and I think we broke down a lot of deep tokenomics and made them more understandable and digestible for people, so that they don't have to go read the white paper and watch 3 or 4 hours of, interviews. But What do you think, Frank? What's your thoughts
I
on
think
this?
it's great. I think the stream was great. I love the aspect of everybody giving the bottom line, which I think helps people who are fact averse. Me personally, I'm fact averse. I don't necessarily learn all the facts until I absolutely have to. So I rely on people like you guys, especially you, Adam. I mean, I can tell that you deep dive in a lot of stuff, and you also have a broad, you have your fingers in a lot of projects, which is nice, So you just the fact that you go deep and wide, that's comforting, because a lot of people, you hear it all the time. Don't get into something unless you know what you're getting into. But by the time people do that, it's too late. You kind of have to, in crypto, get into things when you don't know what they do. I mean, the easiest thing that I did was get into Hex when I heard it was like a certificate of deposit, right? I grew up on that, so I just did it. But people that wait to understand something, you're going to be too late. I shouldn't say you're going to be too late. You really, there's a possibility that you're going to be late. So keep just putting your hand, just getting into crypto couldn't be easier right now with using 0x Coast and sending somebody how to open a MetaMask. And then those are the first two steps, right? And then you give them the next two steps after that. It's that simple. So that's kind of where I'm wrapping things up here, guys.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So where can people follow you? Keep in touch with what you guys are doing.
Twitter at Polancic Frank, POLANCIC Frank. That's the easiest thing.
Okay.
There was not a Frank Conversations available that I could put on Twitter. So.
And then if people want to catch up with you, what you and Lindsay got going on, Adam, where do they find you? How they follow you? I mean, obviously you got your YouTube channel, Vibra Finance.
Yeah, YouTube, Twitter.
A savage, like they said in the comments here. Adam's a savage. You've been streaming like crazy lately and dropping all sorts of information. So
yeah, hey, and Adam, don't be a stranger. Jump in the mastermind at some point. I know you're in it.
Yeah,
just jump in. Glad to have you.
For sure. I definitely will. Tuesdays are tough, but I just need a couple days to set aside. But I'll definitely jump in one in the near future for sure.
Cool. Yeah.
Cool. Next week for Tech Talk, we have another insane panel. Let me see here. We've got Pawn W Dev, or Proof of No Work Dev, is going to be joining us. He knows an insane amount about NFTs, IPFS system, and he's got a whole bunch of stuff going on, a bunch of collections of NFTs and a bunch of tokenomics he's been deep in the weeds with. We've got Whitney, we got Fashion Coder, we got Crypto Coffee. So like the alpha coming next week is just going to be insane. Again, conversations are going to be worth listening to. So come check out that next week, same time, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Maybe Rags, maybe these guys will make it back on for a panel, and we'll just keep trucking. I'm going to upgrade so I can get more than 6 people on stream here. I mean, you kind of have to fight to be heard here because everyone is like so excited. It's not like someone's being rude and cutting everyone off. There's just so much to say. So you kind of have to like jump in a little bit if you're on the panel, but it's kind of fun that way. And then also I've got my scavenger hunt that I was giving out seed words to my scavenger hunt about a year ago before I like went away and went dark and quiet for about a year. So half of those seed words are out. You can find them online if you look for them. And I'm going to start having my friends like Adam and Frank here, like we'll have them give out some of the seed words on their streams and on their channels, so we can promote cross-pollination of all the different streamers and get people going around looking for these. Right now, like I said, the first one was 100 USDC. This one's 200 USDC. That's just sitting there with a little chunk of Ethereum that might pay gases to get it out of there. I don't know. So that's going on really there. And then other than that, join us in t.me / anti-gravity saga if you want to follow and get updates on the project that me and Don are working on that we're really excited about. We're trying to get, right now we're waiting on legal advice. So we know what we can and can't do and say during launch. And then we're also working to get our audit done. Once the audit's done, then we can spill the beans. We can tell you all about the project, tokenomics, and get it out there. So thanks very much. Also, if you're in the chat today and you DM me your size and a shipping address, I will send you a hexrayvision t-shirt. All my guests get a hexrayvision t-shirt. So if you guys were here in the chat and you guys send me your size and your address, I'm going to send you a hexrayvision t-shirt. So thanks for coming. Thanks everyone for joining us for the awesome questions and the conversation. This is truly a community like no other. And yeah, I'm so happy to be back and sharing all this alpha and nerding out with you guys. I love it.
Thanks for hosting, and thanks for inviting us on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks again, and we'll be in touch, all of us. And I can't wait for the bull market. The bull market's when you have enough time and money to travel and hang out with the other Hexicans. So to me that's the best part of the bull market, is hanging out with Hexicans. The money's cool, but hanging 100%. Out with Hexicans is awesome. So awesome, guys. We'll let's see here. We got a couple more comments before I go real quick. Let's see. Great stream. Very useful information. Thank you very much. Thanks, Jesse James. Well, Hex is 4 years. It's about time when it gets serious. Josh, my buddy Josh, says, Max, it's good to see you, man. Good to see you. Yeah. Oh, awkward sign off. So Swizzle Sticks wants the awkward wave goodbye, which usually I just do that on live streams. But since we're going to chop this up anyways, thanks for company while painting baseboards. You bet, Mobius. It's good to hang out with you while you're getting stuff done. So we'll let me play a little bit of music here. We'll do an awkward wave goodbye. I want you guys to do the most awkward wave goodbye to the camera that you can, and then we'll go out on that. You have to let it build. No, you're not. That's not awkward enough, Frank. Frank, you got to channel your inner fifth grader. Okay.
All right.
Love it. All right, cool guys. Later.